make the change, do the jump, man, can't you? You got to know this the remix right here. Grand hustle, baby, it's the kings right here. You got to know we drop it, package extra sloppy. Don't I love my vegetables, extra cheese and broccoli. Don't young lady like to kick it like karate. Don't I be with J Money serving everybody? Ain't we up in Magic City throwing up the private? Ain't me until taking off.
5-star dummy.
Ain't my money long. Ain't still putting on.
So big, I'm at the tip-top, ain't I? Oscar's in the trunk will make you do the Macarena. Pull up to the floor, yeah, motherfucker, ain't I? All black, cool, I can buy it, see it, can't I? Remix, Young LA and T.I., this a banger. Throw you on that thing, you don't hear me trick, ain't I? Big roll rusties, and I got them nauseous. We be in Ferraris, the cars with the horses. Ain't I on the pill, ride down deal. Ice 30 below, minus the wind chill. Ain't I packing chrome? And I'm going strong.
This is why I'm hot. I'm hot cause I'm fly. You ain't cause you not. This is why I'm hot. I'm hot cause I'm fly. You ain't cause you not. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. I don't gotta rap. I could sell a mill saying nothing on the track. I represent New York. I got it on my back. And they say that we lost it, so I'ma bring it back. I love the dirty, cause they show me love. The ladies start to bounce as soon as I hit the club. But in the Midwest, they love to take it slow. So when I hit that, I watch them get it on the floor. And if you need it hypey, I take it to the Bay. Frisco to Sacktown, they do it every day. Compton to Hollywood, as soon as I hit LA. I'm in that low, I do it the Cali way. And when I hit the Shy, people say that I'm fly. They love the way I dress, they like my attire. They love how I move crowds from side to side. They ask me how I do it, and simply I reply. This is why I'm hot. 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 I'm hot cause I'm fly. You ain't cause you not. This is why I'm hot. I'm hot cause I'm fly. You ain't cause you not. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. Catch me on the block. Every other day, another push, another drop. 16 bars, 24 pop, 44 song. Give me what you got. I'm in the driving cars, crush up off the lot. I'm in the shutting stars down just so I can shop. If you need a bird, I could get it chopped. Tell me what you need, you know I get them by the flock. I call my homie Black, meet me on the Ave. I hit Wash Heights with the money in the bag. We in the big spin and see my pimpin' never drag. Find me with different women that you niggas never had. For those who say they know me, know I'm focused on my cream. Player, you come between, you better focus on the beam. I keep it so mean, the way you see me lean. And when I say I'm hot, my nigga, this is what I mean. This is why I'm hot.
Now walk it out, now walk it out. Come inside, DJ. DJ Mike on the track. DJ Home, walk it out. We at it again, baby. And here we go.
Body too fast.
Hey, bend your back low. She do it with no hands. Now stop, pop and roll. I'm smoking bubble. Yeah, they in trouble.
5-star dummy.
I make the crowd rock. Now go and walk it out. I see they on my job. She want that bubble gum. Is they the double mint? Two shooting me, so I know that I'ma win. It's on once again. Patron once again. laying all in the snow. So there they go, they walk it on the floor. Grey goose, double shots, it'll let your body go. My on my side, haters hate, think it's funny. I walk it only down, getting to the money. Froze on them, I'm not talking about dancing. Won't count on the charm, diamond steady dancing. Now walk it out, 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 now walk it out. West I walk it out, 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 I walk it out.
One, two, three.
Turn it up. You might be a redneck. Turn it up. Turn it up. You might be a redneck. Turn it up. You might be a redneck.
One, two, three.
Okay, boys.
Make some noise.
I'm Mr. Chico Stick. I wanna dun-dun-dun. Oh, cause you so thick. Girls call me Jolly Rancher. Oh, cause I stay so hard. You can suck me for a long time. Oh my God, girl, this ain't a dance floor. This a candy store. And I'm really geeked up. And I got more trouble. I pop, I roll. It's off. I know it's the summertime. But your left and tappy got me full. Get loose. Get low. Don't be shy. I'm playful. I know you wanna ride, you a star, and it shows. What's happening? What's up? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it.
Come on, Trey, here go Mr. Chocolate. I like the way you break it down, why the stack me watching it. Laugh it, take, I'm liking it. Big ol' you just shaking big. Close your mouth and don't say shit. Been on over here to show. Work that pole and work it well. Stacks on deck, your angle swell. Girl, let me touch you. I will never tell. Security guard don't scare nobody. Damn right, I took that. All the money then hit that flow. D4 well, I'm ready to go. Can't even shake no more. They tired out, let's ride out. Wanna go, then she can go. When she get in my car, don't play no more. Start move low, little more favor. Hey, I already know. Let me see that left and tap it.
Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it.
Say, baby girl, oh, what you gon' do? I got 100 ones, I wanna pull on you. Just keep that shaking, and I'ma keep tipping you. While I sit back like a player, sipping Grey Goose. Feeling all loose, just girl, you want your job. You got my hard, the way you touch them toes. Working the micros, on the stilettos. You made it skeet, skeet, skeet like a water hose. Got me going in my pocket, filling out more dough. Let the waitress know I need to order 500 more. You best believe later on we headed to the mall. So go on and pack them bags and let's motherfuckers go. I'm waiting on your fine at the front door. Girl, you don't know. I'ma toss that left it, tap it. Toss it, flip it and stab it. Bust a couple of then get right back at it.
Shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it. Girl, shake that left and tap it, world right, that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shout, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, girl, shake that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it, that left and tap it.
Hey, look at them hips. I like how she rock it. She bend that thing over into the ground. She gon' drop it and pop it hard as she can. Got me hard in the pants because she out in her stance doing her dance, man. Look buddy cute in the face. She rock her hips to the bass. She take a sip and she wait and wanna get with Lil J after she dance on that pole. I pull my can so quick and fast when that to the flow.
Now I got 32 flavors of that bootylicious bubble gum. Raspberry, grape, cherry, come and get the sunny bun. Yummy, yum, baby, not your ordinary lady. Now the driver, crazy Willy Wonka wanna pay. On the daily, out the hills and rock my heels, shake my skittles, soda poppy, watch the sizzle, man, it right here's the shizzle, smoking on it wiggle, waving, sipping in the
I like it
blizzard.
when she rock her hips, then wave and sip. She rock her hips, then wave and sip. She rock her hips, she rock her hips, she rock her hips, then wave. I like it when she rock her hips, then wave and sip. She rock her hips, then wave and sip. She rock her hips, she rock her hips, she rock her hips, then wave.
I like it when she show me she can rock and roll and drop it to the floor. That's a slow, shout is all pro. That's the way to go. Tell her booty, ooh, we got a glancing every time that react. I talk a pretty cat. Give me that back cat. Don't act on the bill. You got me enticed by the way you run them hips. Use a trip, girl, doing all them tricks. That's what's up. I like that a lot. Come and holla at us.
Sound fine. I'm the top-notch glamour chick. Tell me if I throw it at you, baby, can you handle it? Quick to cause it's rushing if a hater wanna run their lip. Step up in the club and have them whispering, got she said. Take it to the bar, hypnotic and Hennessy is on my list. Seductively moving my body, now watch me rock my hips. Take a sip off the goose, I'm looking good and living lavish. Big boy pimping, popping, dipping, now tell me I'm not a
I like it when she rock her hips, then take it low. She grab the towel and wipe the pole. Oh, shawty got it going on. It's just me and her, and I'm in my zone. Check out her rap, shawty got her back. Watch her throw that back, they say she's sweet like snacks. Let your
DJ Kabadi 254.
Y'all know how we do around this time. Young blowers, Lil John, yeah. Tote that thing, yeah, I mean. Had lean clothes, smell like green. That's a white tee and white B. I buy bread, real G's get G. Back to the streets, back with Lil John. Back for the A, back to rapping for the slum. Put your hood up, show a nigga where you from. And if they hate that, then get the job done. What is ride, big wheels, chopping hard like me, drink, that Patron. Keep the bottle popping all night long. What we smoke, that kush, shit. George Bush, how we do it like this, like that. Get crunk, big. 16, I'ma give it to you raw. Take it to your ass, slap you clean, cross the jaw. Now where they at? Who want some?
I don't think y'all really want none.
See, I'm back with a whole new clip with a badass chick on some brand new shit. Now put 'em up to the sky. Get bucked, get drunk, get high. Shake 'em off, you know what to do. Take it to the floor, call out your whole crew. Like what? Nuck if you buck. See, I still don't give a damn, and I never gave a fuck to see 'em. Big timing, wrist stay blinding with 4 or 5 greens. Yeah, my pinky ring shining. I stay grinding and true to the streets. If you ever need to find it, you know where we can meet. Chopping hard like me, like that. What we drink, that Patron. Keep the bottle popping all night long. What we smoke, that good. President shit, George Bush, how we do it like this, like that. Big crunk, big. I feel big bang, and drink. That's why I got a purple Sprite, and y'all ain't. Y'all ride big rim, seeing me is tall. So when you step down, baby girl, don't bow. Y'all niggas know the name. They call me Sean Paul, and I ain't got no flaws to sell, breaking the law. Niggas call me dope, cause I'm hard and I'm raw. Can't call me that thing, one hit to make you cough, and it's always beside me. Watch got diamonds, I ain't part-time, and I'm full-time grinding. The nigga one shining, blind nigga blinding. Them niggas with the dimes in the wheels that I be riding, and I don't pull them out into the trunk beat. And you can see you moving, sitting in the back seat. They wild on the east, they live in these streets, so I'ma keep my peace sitting on the front seat. What we ride, big wheel, chopping hard like me, like that. What we drink, that Patron. Keep the bottle popping.
You got to be careful when you're singing these rap songs. They'll try to cancel you.
Shit, George Bush, how we do it like this, like that. Big.
Yeah, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yep, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou. Damn, that's loud. Yeah, live on LouTube for you. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Also, in addition to that as well, welcome to Uncle Lou After Dark, the college football call-in show. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday night, so I appreciate all of you joining us. Got plenty to talk about today. Funeral service for Alabama's playoff chances. People don't want to listen to reason. I've been trying to tell the Gump man for a couple of weeks. They won't listen. I don't understand what their problem is. Maybe it's the messenger they didn't like. I don't know. Sorry for your trouble, Gump man. But eventually reality has to set in, doesn't it? It sure does. There you are, stuck behind Ohio State. What a shame. Now, Ohio State does have a chance if Southern Cal loses. Ohio State does have a chance to get in and get humiliated by Georgia if Southern Cal loses. The other three are in no matter what. It doesn't matter. UJ, Michigan, and TCU, they're in. They could lose. They're still going to be in. So, anyway, can't wait to watch that amazing Sugar Bowl between Alabama and Kansas State. Should be a real barn burner, too. Shout out to Tennessee as well. For some reason, they thought they were going to be ranked ahead of Bama. I don't know what their problem is either. Well, I do. They've never paid attention to playoff rankings before because they've never had a reason to. So they didn't understand how it was going to work. They didn't want to listen to reason either. But there you are, stuck behind Bama. There's nothing you can do to change it. So 32 years and counting since Tennessee has made it to the Sugar Bowl, the premier bowl that you can go to out of the SEC, unless you go to the playoffs, which Tennessee ain't going to no playoffs. 32 years, Tennessee can't make it to the Sugar Bowl. Poverty at a level that's barely describable. What a shame. What a shame. So we'll talk some college football today. Georgia 1, Michigan 2, TCU 3, Southern Cal 4. No surprise there. Ohio State 5, Bama 6, Tennessee 7, Penn State 8, Clemson 9, Kansas State 10. And there you go. There you go. How y'all doing? Y'all hanging in there? Bama fans, y'all okay? Bama fans backed up off the ledge yet? Reality can be a bitter pill to swallow sometimes, Bama man. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you want to be a part of the show, click the link in the description that says join the show. And we'll talk some college football. I'll post a link every once in a while in the comment section as well, but it is in the description of the video at all times. Make sure you're hitting a thumbs up at the start of this stream. That's a big help to a live show. Doesn't take any time, effort, or energy at all. It's literally the easiest thing you can do to help support the channel. Let's see who's here. Who's here today? Take roll here. BA is here. John Hopeful. All right, good to see him in here. The Beast Bailey is here. UJ Rocks. Jimmy C. Faux Nickel. Savage Dog. Thank you guys for the super chats. I'll get those in just 1 second. See who else is here. K-Starg is here. Boy, you swallowed a big pill about an hour and a half ago, didn't you, buddy? You okay? You didn't choke on that, did you? Sorry for your loss, buddy. Sorry for your trouble. Good thing you didn't throw a bunch of money away on that bet you were talking about making. Tiger Fanatic, Malik. Does that say Muffin? Kevin D. Let's see. String Gene. Let's Go Darwin. Christopher Goins. Nick Koenig. Matt Dummett. G. Smith. Not to be confused with G. White. Or is it? Where is it? We'll never know, will we? We'll never know. Trace McSorley is here. UJ Rocks. Brian Byack. Sergeant Gibby. Sports expert. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all ready to talk some college football? Shout out to Team USA. U.S. men's national team defeated Iran today, 1-0 in the last game of the group stage 2022 World Cup. That means the United States is advancing to the knockout round, the round of 16. They'll play Saturday morning at 10 a.m., I believe, which is disappointing. There was a chance they could have played on Sunday. That would have been so much better for me. But they play Saturday morning at 10 a.m., so we're going to do the college kickoff show right here on Saturday at 9 a.m. like we always do. But I'll have the World Cup game, the U.S. World Cup game on at 10 when it comes on. So, of course, we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. Playing the Netherlands on Saturday. So we'll see. Netherlands pretty good. The U.S. would not be expected to win that game. U.S. would be an underdog in that game. U.S. was a favorite today over Iran. They'll be an underdog against the Netherlands. We'll see if they can pull it off. Christian Pulisic with the goal today, sending the U.S. men's national team into the round of 16. So shout out to them. Daniel Rivera, thank you for hitting the super chat at the top of the show today. I appreciate that. He says, let me get a Go Dogs, Uncle Lou. Make sure your nephew has a clean cut going in these next couple of games. I have it on very good authority that Stetson is getting a haircut on Friday, and so on Saturday we will see Staquavius. Facts. Brian Back, thank you for the super chat. One time for USA, win over Iran. That's right. That's right. It's a good win for the U.S. They didn't even make the World Cup last time. So not only did they make the tournament this time, they've actually advanced to the next round. So good for them. Talon R, thank you for the super chat. He said, Gumps are ready for NASCAR. Yes, they are. Boy, it's just a sad state of affairs right now for Alabama and their fans. It really is. Nick Koenig, thank you for the super chat. He says, but, woo, whoa, Todd, woo. Well, you can still woe Todd. Woe Todd down in New Orleans for that Sugar Bowl against Kansas State. Yep, Sammy Lepley, good to see you in here. Thank you for joining the channel, sir. Jay Rizzle Drizzle says, you've been saving up to pay me about 6:30-ish Saturday evening. 6:30? What do you want to do, get paid at halftime? Game doesn't start till 4. How many points you giving me? I'm not giving you any. You took the bet straight up. That was your own issue. I told you Georgia was going to be a 20-point favorite. You wouldn't listen. Shout out to Jay Rizzle. He's a great guy, but Jay Rizzle bit off more than he could chew the other day. Bet Uncle Lou $1,000 on the Georgia LSU game straight up. Good luck, Jay Rizzle. Good luck. Nicholas, thank you for the super chat. Michigan and Uncle Lou have joint custody of Ohio State. Well, Michigan owns their football team, but I've definitely got custody of their fans here over the last few days. They're so mad at Uncle Lou they can't see straight. That's just a fact. Chance, thank you for the super chat. He says, woo, yes, I'm fine with a Sugar Bowl bid. Bring on K-State. Good luck to the Dogs. Watch out for Michigan. It's time you enjoy a back-to-back moment. Yeah, those are rare. Those are rare. Hadn't happened since Bama did it in, 9 and 10? Something like that. Doesn't happen very often at all. Doesn't happen very often at all. Appreciate y'all hitting that super chat to help support the show. The super chat's right below the comment section. It's a great way to help support the show. You can also attach a note, question, comment, or troll attempt, and I'll be happy to read it and respond. There's also a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description of the video. I'll post those links in the comment section, but all of those links are in the description of the video, along with the link to join into the call-in show. And speaking of call-in show, let's get right to it. I can't wait to hear the crying. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
How you doing?
Doing good.
It's a great night.
It is a great night.
Is it not a great night?
Great night for me.
It's a great night for me, man, especially seeing the rankings coming out. And I tell you what, man, I had kind of a long day, but after hearing all this crying from Bama, man, just made my night, because I've heard the delusion all last week, all this weekend. Come on, son. Who's more delusional?
They actually thought they were going to be ranked ahead of Ohio State.
What? Who's more delusional, Bama or Tennessee fan?
They're both way out there, buddy. They're like flat Earth level delusional at this point.
I'll give you a PSA. 1-800-555-1212 is for the emergency hotline for any of the Bama Tennessee man.
Okay.
So I heard all the excuses why Bama, they just can't let it go.
It really is.
Your time's
sad.
done.
Yeah, it really is sad.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, and real quick, I just wanted to talk about, Joe Milton is the next greatest Heisman candidate coming up after he had such an outstanding game against Vandy.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that we're gonna hear about that all off season. I'm sure.
Oh, it's already started.
Yeah.
Okay, really, and explain to me, and what I've been hearing is Alabama should be ranked over Ohio State because of their amazing win against Auburn. Really? I mean, that's like bragging you beat like Savannah State or Georgia. I mean, I don't know who to compare it to. But that's all I got, man. Be
all right,
safe
buddy.
with your
Yep, I
storm.
appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey,
It was good
go
to hear
Dogs.
from you. Yep, go Dogs. Cadillac, you're on with Uncle Lou.
You know it, Lou. Here I come. Bama fan. What's up, bud?
Yeah, man. Turns out you were wrong.
Yeah. Listen, couple of points. I'll let you ride with it, Lou. Congratulations. Georgia's #1, right?
That's right.
Let me ask you something, Lou, and I want you just to debate this. I don't want you to clown on me or anything like that. Let's say Michigan comes to Tuscaloosa without their running back. Are they blowing Alabama out? Are they?
Probably not, no.
Then why are y'all clowning on Bama fans thinking they ought to be above Ohio State? Let's use that logic, Lou.
Because that doesn't have anything to do with it.
I know
Georgia was in the
does,
same.
because
Georgia's been in the same spot you're in right now twice, and there wasn't a single. And you know what the Alabama fan told me?
I'm just trying to get you to understand the complaint.
You don't have to make me understand the complaint. I've been ranked 5th and not got in. You're 6th. I've been ranked 5th and not got in, knowing I was better than Notre Dame and Oklahoma.
Right.
And you know what the Alabama fan told me? They told me.
Well, yeah, and like y'all do in Alabama this year, same thing.
It's how it goes. You're just not getting in. It's that simple.
But I just wanted to defend what you guys are calling delusional. It is
delusional. Y'all were never going to be ranked ahead of Ohio State. You've got 2 losses. They've got 1. They've got 2 top 10 wins. Your best win is against Bama, sir. Bama probably shouldn't even be 6 if you want to know the truth. Bama's best win is against an 8-4 Texas team. You don't have any good wins.
I'm explaining this to you, Lou.
You don't have any good wins. You can explain it till you're blue in the face. Your best win is against Texas and Mississippi State, sir. Ohio State has wins against Penn State and Notre Dame, 2 top 15 teams.
Penn State, Notre Dame.
Yes.
The one that got beat by Marshall.
Yes.
Wait. Let's get this straight.
Yes.
That team.
And you got beat by Tennessee. You got beat by Tennessee, who got beat by South Carolina. Bama doesn't have Bama doesn't have a single win to prop themselves up. Not one. The best win you have is against an 8-4 Texas team. Ohio State has a win against Penn State, the 8th ranked team. You don't. And you've got twice as many losses as Ohio State. There's no rational reason to place Alabama over Ohio State. There never was a rational reason, which is why it was so weird that Alabama fans actually thought they were going to be ranked ahead of Ohio State.
You got to give it a shot. But on top of that, Lou, look.
You keep saying Bama would beat Ohio State. Okay.
Right.
Well, Bama and Tennessee.
Exactly.
Did
Bama could beat anybody in the country, and you know that, Lou.
Did Bama and Tennessee play?
If Bama Georgia played, it's 50.
Did Bama and Tennessee play this year?
Yeah, at Tennessee.
And who won?
At Tennessee. Tennessee.
Should they be ranked ahead of you?
There was also.
Should they be ranked ahead of you?
No.
No, they have the same record, and they beat you, but they shouldn't be ranked ahead of you. But Ohio State has a better record than you, has 2 better wins than any win you have, but you can't understand why they're ahead
of Tennessee, Lou. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
No.
Why is Alabama ahead of them if you're going to use
Nobody understands anything the Alabama fan says about trying to rank Bama ahead of Ohio State. No one understands that except a handful of delusional Bama fans. That's it. Because it was never going to happen. It doesn't deserve to happen. You don't deserve to be ranked ahead of Ohio State.
Right. But what can I, Lou, listen, do you understand? I mean, that was a beat down at their house. They're supposed to be the most prolific offense and a beat down. Yeah, I don't understand what. Last play of the game for Bama twice. I mean, I don't understand why you
won 3 games. Program. You won 3 games on the last play of the game. So what about those?
Well, I thought a win was a win.
No,
right?
A win is never a win in college football. You know that. That's why you're ahead of Tennessee. A win is never a win. All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. Good to hear from you, buddy. MC Miller, you're on with Uncle Lou. Good morning.
Hey, Lou. How are you?
Doing great.
Hey, I heard I heard a theory that apparently after the championship on Friday between Utah and USC, if the game's on Saturday, probably won't even end up mattering. Do you agree with that?
If the game was on Saturday, it wouldn't end up mattering?
No, the Pac-12 championship game between Utah and USC. After that happens, apparently people think that the other games aren't really going to matter.
Well, they're going to matter for seeding.
Yeah, for that. But like, if USC, if they win, then that's pretty much it. I mean, the other three guys are a shoe-in for those three spots.
Yeah,
but
the other three could lose and still get in. Yeah, it would just shake up the seeding.
Yeah. I just want to see what you thought about that and if you agree with that.
Yeah, I think if Georgia loses, they're still going to be in the top 4. I think if Michigan loses, they're still going to be in the top 4. And I think if TCU loses, they're still going to be in the top 4.
Yeah, basically the main one is the Pac-12 championship game at this point to keep an eye on.
Well,
but all right.
Okay. Yep. Thank you for the call. I mean, seeding matters. I mean, if you're Georgia, would you rather play in the Peach Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl? So it's not that the games don't matter. It's just that Georgia and Michigan can win and still be in the playoffs, but they may end up. Yeah, I don't agree that they don't matter. I don't agree with that at all. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Lou. Long-time troll, first-time fake news breaker.
Yeah, great news. That's awesome.
My sources have told me that Tennessee fans have started transitioning into LSU fans this week, trying to create so much hate and so much buzz in the air. They're trying to shake the foundation and try and make it seem like LSU has more support for this game going into this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I mean, the Tennessee fans have been cheering for other teams for 4 weeks in a row. First it was Baylor, then it was every team Southern Cal played. They were cheering for that team. They were cheering for every team that was playing TCU. This is nothing new for them.
Lou, they hate us because they ain't us. Go Dogs.
All right, buddy. Yep, appreciate you coming on. Good to hear from you. Miles, you're on with Uncle Lou. What's up, buddy?
How about them USA?
Yeah, they won 1-0 over Iran. Yeah.
Man, I was biting my fingernails there in that second half, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got I was getting nervous at the end.
Yeah, they were putting me on edge. I think, well, I mean, I'm obviously going to talk about fly. I was just going to talk, you think they got a shot against Netherlands?
Well, yeah, I think they got a shot. I think Netherlands is a better team. But, hell, England's a better team, and we tied them. So, and there's no more ties now. All you people that don't know anything about soccer and all you do is just complain about it every 4 years during the World Cup, there's no more ties once the group stage is over. They play overtime and then a shootout. So you can quit crying about the ties. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I personally like you commentating on soccer. It's pretty funny. So the rankings, I mean, I think this is one of their better rankings. I have no problem with this ranking. I'm definitely agreeing with Georgia number 1. I think the whole resume thing is, I think that does count for something. And I know Michigan had a better win, but Georgia's had a better body of work this entire season.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Michigan's got the best win in all of college football with that win at Ohio State.
Right.
But Georgia's got more ranked wins. Michigan's non-conference schedule is probably hurting them a little bit, whereas Georgia's got to win over Oregon in the non-con.
Yeah. Obviously they're not going to match up until probably the national title. Do you think this would be a much better game this year against Michigan?
It might be a little bit closer than last year, but, I mean, I don't think anyone's beating Georgia. Georgia's going to be a significant favorite in their next 3 games. We're a 17, 18-point favorite, whatever it is now, over LSU. We'll be, I don't know, a 2-touchdown favorite over Southern Cal and a 10-point favorite over Michigan. Something like that would be my guess.
Yeah. No, I agree. I just think that's a better matchup for Georgia, you know. Obviously Georgia's a more talented team, and But I mean, Georgia plays best, I feel like, when they're playing those kind of teams that are also like them, you know?
Right.
The whole physical ground and pound.
Yeah, Michigan plays a similar style to football as Georgia. It's just a less talented version of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is funny how Bama fans thought they were going to get that 5th spot.
Yeah, they're delusional.
Yeah. I mean, losses matter. I mean, I know they're complaining because they had 2 close losses, but at the end of the day, it's 2 losses, and like you said, they don't have any quality wins.
Right. Their best win is against 8-4 Texas. Their second best win is against Mississippi State. Ohio State's just got better wins than that. The Penn State win and the Notre Dame win are better than any win Bama has.
Yeah. Well, I'll just end with this. Bama fans and Ohio State fans should get some tips from Tennessee fans on how to properly nut ride another team.
Oh,
They're going to need it. Have a good evening, sir.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you coming on, Miles. Munkin's headset, thank you for the super chat. He says, we still ain't played nobody. Woo. There's nobody we can play. There's nobody we can play. Georgia's going back to back. And then they'll still tell us we didn't play anybody. That's just how it goes. Home Slice, thank you for the super chat. He says bowl conference tie-ins are stupid. Would much rather Alabama play Penn State. I agree. I really wish they would get rid of bowl tie-ins with the conference tie-ins with bowls, and do a better job of trying to give us games that actually interest people. I agree. Muffin, thank you for the super chat. Willie Fritz and Jamie Chadwell gave Georgia Tech the finger. 12 people gave Georgia Tech the finger. Georgia Tech interviewed 12 people for the job. They all said no. That's why they hired. That's why they just went ahead and promoted that interim head coach to head coach today, Brent Key. Georgia Tech doesn't have enough money to pay these high-profile coaches. These coaches wanted guaranteed money. Georgia Tech didn't have it. They're broke, basically. I mean, Jamie Chadwell was offered the job at Georgia Tech, said no, and then took the job at South Florida instead. Like, he'd rather take another group of 5 job than go to Georgia Tech. That's bad. That's bad. But you know, all these coaching contracts now, the contracts are guaranteed for so many years and this and that, and so that's what all the coaches want now. Georgia Tech wouldn't do that. Didn't have the money to do it. So they weren't able to guarantee contracts to these coaches, so the coaches told them no. So instead, they promoted their offensive line coach that they already had, Brent Key. Good luck, Georgia Tech. Buckeyes suck. Thank you for the super chat. Can't wait till Ohio State gets in and puts an ass whooping on the Dogs, and you'll pull the "we won last year" card. LOL. Hashtag Buckeyes year. Hashtag OSU lost to Virginia Tech. This guy can't make up his mind if he loves Ohio State or hates them. Trey Bartolo, thank you for the super chat. Just wanted you to know that your song choices before the show are on point. And don't forget our South Carolina and Clemson bet. Loving the content as usual. You're going to have to remind me about the bet. Email me, because I don't remember that. Buckeyes man says, remember when you cried? Hashtag Jawan Jennings. Well, I didn't cry, but yeah, that was the last time Tennessee beat Georgia was 6 years ago. Yeah, you're right. 6 years ago. Man, that's a long time. Thank you, Buckeye man. Good luck in the Rose Bowl against Washington. Here's some people I am looking for bets, though. I owe these people money. So if you're watching, Michael Burden, email me. Bluegrass Sports Media, email me. Corn Dog, DAWG, email me. GNS Coverage, email me. Caleb Lanier, email me. So unless that's what was that guy's name? Trey Bartolo. I don't remember a bet on South Carolina and Clemson, but email me and tell me whatever we bet. We'll figure it out. I don't have it written down. But I've paid everybody else. These 4 people I can't find. The 4 people I just named. GNS Coverage, Caleb Lanier, Michael Burden, and Corn Dog. I need those people to email me if you want your money. Tobias, you're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, top of the morning, Uncle Lou. How's it going?
Going good. What's up, buddy?
Man, all right. You know, I'm one of your more rational Alabama fans. But before I get on that, I had a troll a Penn State fan. He was like, who Alabama beat? And I asked him, did you guys even beat a top 25 team this year? You know? But people are mad about Alabama being ranked over Tennessee. I wish they would be ranked below Tennessee because we played Clemson in the Orange Bowl because Kansas State's actually going to try in the Sugar Bowl. And Alabama will have guys not playing. You know?
Yeah, I was wondering about that earlier. This is the time of year where I start to get mad about all these players quitting. And I'm wondering how much of that we're going to see this year. It's been getting worse and worse every year.
Yeah, because the funny thing is people say getting hurt. We see guys get hurt during drills at practice. There was a kid from Michigan, I think it was a Jabo, who tore his ACL doing a drill for the workouts for the on his pro day. And so you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. But I see people crying about Alabama not being in, but here's the thing. If Alabama want to be in the playoff, and I'm being honest as a fan, how about not have a box safety single cover one of the fastest guys in college football and spy a quarterback in Jaden Daniels who's scared to throw the ball past 10 yards?
Right.
And I think what people are missing is I think Nick Saban is going to use this as a big-time coaching opportunity for next year's team. Because you remember that Last Dance documentary, Michael Jordan got mad because people who weren't even on the team when they won titles acted like they were the players who won the titles.
Yeah.
And I think that's something right there with Saban, plus shaking up the staff. But I just think that there was no way they would get in. Now, the thing I hate is that if USC loses a conference championship game they got into, but Ohio State, who got housed, could just move right up. That's something that I don't like. You know, it's that why are we rewarding a team that got housed?
Well, they're not. They dropped them 3 spots, but
yeah,
they have 1 loss. You have 2. They have 2 wins that are better than any win you have.
Yeah,
there's no logical reason to put Alabama ahead of Ohio State. There's not a single rational argument that anybody can make to have Alabama ahead of Ohio State.
And you know, I was telling people, I don't see how they can get in, especially got a team with 1 loss. And the thing that hurt Michigan being number 1 is that non-conference schedule. That, you know, I'm glad they're holding that up. But also the committee loves Clemson for some reason. You know, I'm watching this stuff and I'm watching these pundits argue over 6 and 7, 7 and 8. I'm like, as a fan, I don't care. They're not making the playoffs anyway. But my last thing before I run is, do you think that what chance if Michigan played TCU? I think TCU has a real shot of beating them.
I think TCU is under. I don't think they get the respect they deserve. I think they're a pretty good team. I don't know that they can beat Michigan. I kind of hope for TCU's sake that they don't get blown out, because if they do, people are just going to cry like they do every year. Oh, they didn't deserve to be in. Teams get blown out in the playoffs every single year. That doesn't necessarily mean they didn't deserve to be in, but I don't know. I've got mixed feelings on TCU as well, but they are a fun team to watch.
They are, and I'll take this off the air. I hear they talking about the Rose Bowl, the college football expansion. My thing is, why are they even worried about the Rose Bowl?
I know.
They want to,
If the Pac-12 is just fucking worried about the Rose Bowl, then we can just leave the Pac-12. We don't need the fucking Pac-12. Southern Cal and UCLA are coming to the Big Ten anyway. Just tell the Pac-12 to fuck off. They can have their own season. and they can play for their own championship in their precious little Rose Bowl at the end of the year. It's fucking ridiculous that they're standing in the way over, well, we're not signing anything unless you guarantee that a mediocre Big Ten team and a mediocre Pac-12 team can play in the Rose Bowl every year. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, and nobody
ridiculous.
actually, I don't know anybody except for our grandparents who want to watch the Big Ten for the Pac-12 Rose Bowl. We don't want tie-ins. We want good matchups. But like I said, man, Lou, you have a good one. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, buddy. Yep, good to hear from you. Thanks, Tobias. Chance, thank you for the super chat. He says, Tennessee will go to the damn Duke's Mayo Bowl. They can stick that trophy up their ass like the mustard bottle. Also screw players who sit out. Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to wind up in the Orange Bowl, though. Most likely. Corey Sanders, thank you for the super chat. He says, when are you going to host a live watch party in the CSRA, or are you such a marked man you can't be seen in public? Now, the problem is I work every Saturday. I mean, if I take one Saturday off during the fall, it's to go to the game. That's the problem. I had a live watch party here 3 or 4 weeks ago and invited the entire internet. So you were more than welcome to come to that, but for whatever reason you didn't. Buckeye man, thank you for the super chat. I know you hate Tennessee, but they had a phenomenal season. Even if they lost to USC Junior, 10 wins after 15 years is an accomplishment. And Hooker was awesome. No, it's not an accomplishment at all. I've been on here since 2014 listening to Tennessee fans tell me that it didn't matter that Georgia was winning 10 games, 11 games, 12 games, 13 games. None of that mattered because Georgia didn't win the national title. And if you don't win the national title, your season ain't shit. So to the Tennessee man, I say this. Congratulations on yet another wasted, meaningless, pointless season where you didn't win shit. Breaking news, it's going to happen again next year. You're not winning shit again either next year. So congratulations. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good.
That sounds good. If you remember me from last week, I was that Vols fan who was rambling on about Southern Cal, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, and people in the live chat.
Yeah, that could have been any random Tennessee fan, to be honest with you. That y'all were all doing the same thing.
Yeah, I read the live chat from last week. People were like, I was boring you to death. And some people were even like, does this guy work for ESPN as a commentator or a hype man or something like that? Man, I wish.
Yeah.
So I'll try not to sound as boring as last time. But, hey, to my fellow Tennessee fans, we did it. We did win 10 games in a season, which is such a big accomplishment. But it is great to see, although I did want the playoffs, but Georgia happened and South Carolina happened. So it just didn't come to be. But looking at the bowl projections, Orange Bowl against Clemson is what I've been looking at, CBS Sports. I mean, making it to a New Year's Six Bowl should be a big accomplishment. It is some that you should strive for. I mean, do you know how many?
It should be, but unfortunately, Tennessee fans just don't feel that way because if you don't win the national title, it's a wasted season. I feel bad for Tennessee fans because they should enjoy this moment. They should be proud of their team. They should consider this season a success. But they can't because they're on record for the last 8 years saying that exactly what Tennessee did this year is nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm enjoying this season despite the 2 losses. Do you know how many college football programs would kill to play in a New Year's Six Bowl? Too many to count.
This sounds like you sound like me talking to Tennessee fans every year for the last 6 years.
All right, well, I can ramble on about Tennessee as much as I want to, but obviously this is not a Tennessee channel. This ain't a Tennessee channel. It's a college football channel. Give me that rocket top, Lou. Oh, man, I love it. But anyways, I am a college football fan just like you, and you can't ask for a better Week 13 than what we got last week. I mean, upsets everywhere. I mean, you've covered most of the games. North Carolina falling to NC State. Oregon State putting up 28 unanswered points to beat Oregon. South Carolina beating Clemson. It's not rushing the field, it's beating at the ball. That was funny stuff. But Michigan and Ohio State, woof. That's a game I was surprised about. I mean, I thought Ohio State was going to handle Michigan, and I did kind of see Michigan blow out Ohio State, but I thought it was very unlikely. But man, they took care of business.
Yeah.
The defense gave C.J. Stroud a rough day, and who was their backup running back? Donovan
Edwards.
I think. Donovan Edwards, yeah, he had a good day against Ohio State.
Yeah.
And and also LSU Tigers, more like LOL Tigers. I mean, they had a good opportunity. They could have been the first two-loss team to make the playoff, but you lost to the Aggie, man.
That was the most humiliating loss of the weekend. That was more humiliating than the Ohio State loss.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, a team that Jimbo Fisher has been struggling with talent, the locker room culture problems, and they just took care of business against LSU. And the SEC title game went from, okay, I think LSU can give Georgia a fight, to now saying, okay, Georgia's going to take those corn dogs and shove them down their throats on national television. But anyway, what do you think, Lou? This past weekend show what college football is all about, or what?
Yes.
I mean, that's what you really like to see. I mean, any given Saturday. Flapping corn dogs everywhere. But anyways, I am looking forward to the conference championship Saturday, and besides the ACC title game, like all the other games have a team that has a legit shot of making the playoff. Like if they win, they're in. And they also have a team that's like they might not make the playoff or might not even make a New Year's Six bowl, but that's not going to stop them from playing spoiler. And those two games I'm really looking at are the Pac-12 and the Big 12.
Yeah.
Because Pac-12, you do have Utah, who already beat USC this year. Spoiled their perfect season, beat it by 1 point. Now, Utah, can they prove that it wasn't a fluke, that they can handle business again and beat Southern Cal when it all matters? Or will Southern Cal, Caleb Williams, who I think is now the Heisman favorite, could they take care of business and get revenge on Southern Cal? That'll be interesting to see. And then also the Big 12 game, I'm with you, Lou. How does TCU keep doing this stuff that they've been doing all year long? Besides like Iowa State and Texas, where they just took care of business. Like games like the Baylor game, how do they just keep pulling off comebacks? And they already played Kansas State this year. Kansas State had an 18-point lead on them early this year. And TCU came back and won. Can they beat them again? Or could TCU beat them again, or will Kansas State get revenge on them? We'll see about that. I'm making him fall asleep, Lou. Anyways, are those like kind of the games that you think you can see a potential upset or two, or will TCU and Southern Cal have no problems and get in the
Well, TCU and Southern Cal are very small favorites, so it wouldn't be much of an upset if they lost.
Absolutely, Lou. Well, that's
the only real chances for upsets would be if Georgia or Michigan lost, because they're huge favorites, those two there. But, hey, thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. We will talk to you next time, I'm sure. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Oh, I'm sorry. USA, USA, USA.
America.
How about them boys?
Yeah, they look good.
Now they almost pulled. I thought they were going to pull the biggest choke job in USA sports history.
Yeah, well, they tried to at the end.
They tried to. I was on the edge of my seat when they were. I mean, they were on the press, but then like in the last 20 minutes of the game, they were just playing scared.
Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat now.
Not to lose.
That's right. Yeah, same thing they did against Wales.
Yep. But did you see that? It was in the second half that Iran dude that just it was like a foul, ran into each other or something. Dude just like fell on the ground and started screaming.
I did see that.
Yeah, like it was going through the broadcast. It was like ah. And then They call the foul, and then he just gets up, starts walking, starts jogging. I was like, shit, what a recovery.
Miracle.
It's almost like seeing a damn paralyzed man start walking.
Mm.
But anyway, I saw an Alabama fan on Twitter. He said, "I still think there's a chance."
Oh, there's idiots in this comment section saying that.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell him. You know,
There is no chance. That's what you tell them. You tell them there is no chance. You're not going to the playoffs. Get over it. Enjoy the Sugar Bowl. Try again next year. You're permanent rebuild mode. That's all. That's it.
Yeah,
that's what you tell
I'm
them.
a Tennessee fan, so
I mean, there ain't no sense in trying to be nice to them. Just tell them. You just have to sit them down like a fucking 2-year-old and say, dude, you're not going to the playoffs. Get over it.
Yeah.
Get over
so
it.
I'm a Tennessee fan, so they can I'll invite them over to my house. And we can tune in and watch.
No, don't do it. You're going to invite the Alabama fans over to your house? Don't do that. Don't do that. That's a
On
terrible
January 9th at 7 o'clock, we can watch the national championship game where Georgia's playing somebody and probably beating the ever-loving shit out of somebody. And, it'll be a nice therapy session.
Right.
Be a nice therapy session.
Yes, it will.
But hey, thank you for taking my call, Uncle.
Yes, sir. It was my pleasure, I can assure you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Uncle Lou?
Nothing doing this call-in show.
I just wanted to say that I hate Alabama.
Good.
And I think that most of the teams this playoff aren't really legit, except for Georgia and Michigan.
Okay.
Kind of feel like TCU and USC are the only two other options they kind of really could have put.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big Georgia fan. Probably no bias there. But I think that, if Georgia played any of those teams, it would be very ugly. Very ugly. Yeah, that's mainly just what I want to say. Kind of wanted to hit on the Alabama fans.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you next time. Let's take a 30-second break from the calls here. Try to regroup. Ryan Smith, thank you for the super chat. He says, Tennessee fans stormed the field and threw goalposts in the river just to be ranked behind Alabama. Can you call in? Nikki C. Thank you for the super chat. Do you think Michigan or UGA should get into the playoff even if they lose Saturday? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Chance, thank you for the super chat. What bothers you more, players sitting out of bowl games or Georgia's QB situation? Alabama and Tennessee playoff chances. I ran away today. Let me read that one more time. What bothers you more, Lou? Players sitting out of bowl games or Georgia's QB situation? Georgia's QB situation bothers me more because it affects me more. That's a good question, though, because they both bother me a good deal. And now let me read this last part again. Alabama and Tennessee playoff chances. I ran away. Uh-oh. Oops. Sorry.
Touch your face, you're slowly disappearing from my view, from my view. Couldn't get away, I couldn't get away, I couldn't get away.
Okay, I think I beat that into the ground enough. Alabama and Tennessee playoff chances. I ran away. $19.98. Might as well put a hashtag COVID in there too. Can I get a hashtag COVID for Alabama's last title? Hashtag COVID in honor of Alabama's last title. Maybe we'll have another global pandemic and Alabama will be good again. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, good morning, Nanette.
Yeah, good morning.
I think I'd rather have a damn tooth extracted than to have to hear you explain to one more Gump fan why they're not fucking number 5. Good Lord.
It's crazy.
And then you explain to that one guy, well, Tennessee beat y'all. Should they be above you? Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, then there you go, dumbass.
Yeah, maybe if I had a coloring book and a lot more time, I would better be able to explain it to him.
Well, it's like I always say, why go down the street when you can go down the hall? Roll Tide. A serious question for you, though, away from the playoffs for 1 second. You think there's any chance at all that we have a quarterback competition next year at Georgia, or is Carson Beck automatically going to be the starter?
No, I don't think it's automatic that he's the starter. I think one of them will transfer away. My guess would be Brock Vandagriff. I don't have any reason to guess that. It's just a gut feeling. I don't think when we start having press conferences right during spring practice, right before spring practice or whatever, and the first question that Kirby is asked is going to be about quarterbacks, he's not going to say Carson Beck is our starter, I don't think. And so that's just going to start the ball rolling, and it's just going to be here we go with the whole offseason thing, Carson Beck versus Gunner or Brock or both or whatever it is. I think Carson Beck will have a leg up in the competition because he's been getting the majority of the reps with the twos this year. And the number 2 quarterback gets some reps with the ones every week in practice too, in case Stetson ever goes down. So I think he's ahead of the curve. He's got a year longer in the system, and he's the current backup. But I don't think it's a given that he'll start next year. That would probably be who I would put money on if I had to bet on it, but I don't think it's a certainty.
Yeah. I never thought I'd say it, but I am a little nervous not having Staquavius as the starter next year, as funny as that sounds.
Yeah, that does sound funny. That does sound funny.
I've been just as hard on him too, but like my buddies tried to tell me the last 2 years, it is what it is. And I get that, but oh man, it's scary because I hate to think what we could be with an elite quarterback, because it seems if Kirby's done anything wrong since he's been there, it has been the quarterback situation. I start to wonder if we're ever going to have that elite, quarterback. It's scary what we can do now, but man.
I've said this before, and this is kind of my standing position on Georgia's quarterback situation from now on. I'm not even trying to say anymore that Stetson Bennett isn't the best quarterback we have. Maybe he is. But if he's better than Carson Beck, Brock Vandagriff, and Gunnar Stockton, then the entire recruiting department needs to be fired.
Absolutely.
If Carson Beck, Brock Vandagriff, and Gunnar Stockton aren't any good, then the entire recruiting department needs to be fired. Because what are we doing? Why are we giving these people scholarships if they're that bad?
Right.
So
it's the same thing I talked to you several years ago, when you had Justin Fields and Jake Fromm, and it was like, how do you watch Justin Fields in practice every single day and then decide, you know what, I don't think he gives us a good chance of winning. So it's like Kirby
But then he watches Stetson Bennett in practice in 2017. He transferred away in 2018, but then he came back for 2019 and 2020. He watched Stetson practice for 3 years, and then looked you in the face at the start of the 2020 season and told you DeJuan Mathis was better. Because he started DeJuan Mathis in the first game in 2020, and DeJuan Mathis couldn't complete a pass from me to this computer monitor.
Yeah, that was a shit show.
So I don't know what. So I don't, the whole thing is a mess. So we recruit and sign DeJuan Mathis. He's not any good. We bring Jamie Newman in, or try to bring Jamie Newman in. Apparently he's no good. We bring JT Daniels in as a transfer. He's no good. We sign Justin Fields. He's no good. We sign Carson Beck. He's no good. We sign Brock Vandagriff. He's no good. We sign Gunnar Stockton. He's no good. We don't sign Stetson Bennett. He walks on, and he's the best quarterback on the roster. It's weird. So I'm not even saying that any of those people are better than Stetson Bennett. I'm just saying if Stetson Bennett is better than 4 and 5 star quarterbacks that we've signed over the last few years, then we've got a major issue with evaluating high school quarterback talent.
Yeah, he definitely. It's like he gets too emotionally attached to certain guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't it that Justin Fields and Daniels, weren't they the 2 and 3 rated quarterback in that same class as Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was 1, Justin Fields was 2, and JT Daniels was 3 in that year's class.
They're just no good. Stequavius is the starter.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll get better. I don't know. I mean, I can't.
And don't forget, it's not just quarterbacks. Kearis Jackson and Dominic Blaylock aren't any good either. But Ladd McConkey and Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint are amazing.
Well, we've talked about that too. If you get hurt at Georgia, you end up on a milk carton for some reason.
Yeah.
But thank you for your time, Lou. I just wanted to call and talk to you for just a second.
All right, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Good to hear from you. Appreciate you coming on. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Uncle Lou?
Hey, bud.
What's going on? Boy, what a wild weekend it was, huh?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I just want to say to the whole world, man, that's just absolutely pathetic. Like, how do you come out in the second half and take a nap? Like, what are you?
Who are you talking about?
You had the best player, huh?
You got to tell us who you're talking about. We don't know who you're talking about.
The team that came out in the second half and completely took a nap. You got the best players in college football. You take a nap. That's just pathetic. The Buckeyes don't deserve to get nowhere near the playoff.
That's like, where's Waldo? We got to guess what team people are talking about.
Yeah, my bad, Uncle Lou. It's just no excuse. I'm just so dejected and just so it just don't even make any sense. Like I just don't understand.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. And then we supposed to go for it on a couple fourth downs where we already down. Ryan Day's playing like it's Ryan's Day fault. He played not to lose. He was playing scary. Like the game, everything is on the line. This is the game you gotta win. It was just pathetic, Uncle Lou. It's just no excuse to the Michigan fans. They did what they were supposed to do. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just no excuse.
they got to figure out a way to not give up 300 yards rushing. That's what they have to do.
No, I don't know if you watched the game, Uncle. I watched the whole game, start to finish. Michigan had 2 plays in the second half. Michigan had, look at the stats at the end of the first half. We did what we were supposed to. The game is not on the defense. We lost that game offensively. We had Michigan down and out in the first and second quarter. We supposed to go up. The score at the end of halftime was supposed to be like 35-3. We had them dead to rights and didn't capitalize. We didn't capitalize. Like, our defense was getting stops. We just didn't capitalize on anything. And then when we get down in the third or fourth quarter, he's punting the ball instead of, we're already behind the chains. You punting the ball on 4th and 4 and stuff. Like, dude, what are you doing? I don't know. It's just real aggravating.
Yeah, I'd be aggravated too, and perturbed.
Yeah, I just know that we don't deserve, I mean, if they put us in there, hopefully that'll give them some life, but we don't deserve to get into the playoff. Not the way you had everything right there in front of you. It was a home game. And then on top of that, we have better players than they do. Man, it's not even close, man. If we play Michigan again, I think the roles will be reversed.
I don't know. I mean, well, that's what we heard after the Michigan game last year. But then now you did play them again, and it was the same thing. They had 300 yards rushing on you last year. They pushed you around. They had 300 rushing yards on you this year. They pushed you around. You lost to Oregon last year. They ran for 300 on you and pushed you around. When you give up 300 yards rushing, what do you think the winning percentage is across all of college football when a team gives up 300 yards rushing? It's about 1%. You're not going to win very many games giving up 300 yards rushing. You got to do something about that defensive line and whatever against the run. I don't know if it's talent or recruiting or practice or philosophy or I don't know what it is, but it ain't working.
Let me ask you something. Did you watch the game?
No, I was at the Georgia game, so I only watched the fourth quarter.
Okay, so Michigan had like maybe 6 played. Like, our defense played is not on the defense.
I know Michigan was averaging 0.1 yards per carry in the first half. That's great. And guess what? You were winning. And guess what? You were winning.
But it doesn't.
And then in the second half, they ran it down your throat, and there was nothing you could do, and you got blown out. When you can't stop the run, you're not going to win. It's that simple. And C.J. Stroud is afraid to run the ball. Look, Ohio State's got a finesse problem and a soft problem. That's just what it is. C.J. Stroud's afraid to run the ball.
It's Ryan's day to play calling the scheme, and
I agree. It trickles down from Ryan Day. He's a soft coach. I agree. He's a finesse soft guy. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, if you watch the game in the first half, we had them right where we want. They score. It shouldn't even have been a 3-point game at halftime.
Well, look, Georgia didn't win the national title in 2017 just because we were beating the shit out of Alabama at halftime. It doesn't work that way. You got to play 4 quarters, and y'all got pushed around in the second half like you weren't there. I mean, it was last year all over again. Every time I looked up, a backup running back was running for 20 yards. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, you're right. There's no excuse. You're absolutely right about that. It's just no excuse. So but it's just disheartening though. That was just terrible. And then Michigan's gonna go to the playoff and get blown out. That stuff Michigan does not gonna make Michigan.
Well, let me ask you this, because right now it looks like they're gonna play TCU. So how do you think they'll do against TCU? You think they can win that one?
Against TCU, I'm a college football realist. They'll beat TCU by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But where they were playing the championship.
Well, you know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be. Yeah, well, it's gonna be a more talented version of Michigan. That's what it's gonna be. Georgia and Michigan are the same team. Georgia's just more talented.
I'll say this, man. The committee better not mess up and let the Buckeyes in.
I know, because then y'all have to play Georgia in the first round, which, like I said, is just a more talented. If Michigan ran for 300 on you, Georgia might run for 500.
Man, maybe so, but we won't play that bad offensively. I tell you that.
Maybe not. I don't know. You could have beat Michigan, and we could have found out.
Yeah, we sure could have, but hey, no, there's shame on them. But yeah, I'm a realist though. Michigan, they have a good team, but man, the type of style they play, man, like this is just not gonna cut it. It's not. I'm telling you, it's just not gonna cut it.
I agree with
McCarthy had maybe 3-4 good throws. the whole game. The rest of the throws, we had McCarthy right where we needed him to. We gave up explosive plays, missed tackle, 70 yards down the sideline.
Yep.
We do a run blitz and they run right past and run blitz 80 yards up the sideline. It was just like 6 or 7 plays. That's it. That's why I just don't understand Ryan Day. It's just, man, you don't understand the frustration that I have with how Ryan Day called that game, especially in the second and third quarters, particularly in the second and third quarters.
If you could change one thing about Ohio State, what would it be?
If I could change one thing about Ohio State,
what would it be?
We would have better defensive back play. Our corners are the weakest link of our team. Every time in a big game, missed tackle 70 yards up the sideline. Every time. Or our safety, our secondary pretty much. Like our safety's taking a nap. Like, what are you doing back there? The tight end ran a out and up. The guy ran right past you. Like, what are you looking like? The pressure's on them. We was playing like the pressure's on us. The pressure was on them. I don't know, Uncle Lou. It's just kind of just sad and disheartening, man. I tell you what, Georgia, I bet you Kirby Smart would have had Georgia. It don't matter how many points Georgia would have scored. Georgia wouldn't have gave up all them plays. Michigan might score 3 points against Georgia. Michigan's not going to score against Georgia doing that type of offense. That's not going to work. But that's pretty much all I had to say, Uncle Lou, man. I appreciate your show. Just very upset.
I hear you, man. Look, I'm here for you. This is a therapy session, man. Good to talk to you. Good luck in the Rose Bowl or whatever it is, and I appreciate you coming on. Good people right there. He's not ducking and running like some of them are. Good people right there. Yep. Good morning, but you're on with Uncle Ludo.
What's going on, Lou?
Hey, bud.
Oh, I'm a big Georgia fan. I just got 2 quick questions real quick. Well, I know your opinion about Stetson Bennett and all. I get it. But do you think at this point, especially this year, it's just a slap in the face to anyone we play, that we're playing a 5'10", 150-pound quarterback, and we're blowing out teams?
Yeah.
I mean,
Todd Monken should be making $7 or $8 million a year. He's getting 40 points a game out of Stetson Bennett, Ladd McConkey, and Dejon Edwards.
Yep.
Miracle.
I agree. And my second question real quick. One of my buddies, he goes to Clemson. He's a diehard Clemson fan, obviously. And I like to make fun of DJ Pooh a lot because, I mean, he's obviously trash. And one of the things I tell him is I think George is the one that broke him. We put him 6 feet under, and he's trying to claw back up. I mean, he hasn't reached the dirt yet. I mean,
yeah, it's true. Georgia put a whooping on DJ Ukulele that he's yet to get over. A mental beating, also into it.
But appreciate the call, Lou.
Yeah, buddy. Appreciate you coming on, man. It was good to hear from you. Talk to you again next time. Ryan Smith, thank you for the super chat. He says Tennessee lost to South Carolina and fell 5 spots. Clemson dropped 1. Dog Fan Senior, thank you for the super chat. He says all those dog fans who accidentally bought 2022 Natty shirts instead of 2021 last year are about to look like geniuses. What was that video? Was it the Talking Balls show? No, thank you, Andrew. All right. I'm ready to take on another call here. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. All right. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, Lou? Nick Marks. How you doing, bro?
Hey, bud. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just gonna go on a tangent here, if you don't mind. I'm gonna reshape what that Ohio State fan said. What he meant to say was, we got our ass whipped by Michigan and got dominated throughout the whole entire fucking game because our team is soft and pathetic. And we got our shit kicked in, and Jim Harbaugh is our daddy.
All facts.
That's what he meant to say.
All facts.
And as for you freaking Ohio State fans who were chanting, "We want Urban Meyer," hey, have him back. Have that disgusting human being back, and let him run your program back into the depths of hell.
Yeah, right into the ground.
I just thought that shit was hilarious, and they were actually chanting that. And now they're saying they want to fire Ryan Day. You're going to fire a coach who's 45-5?
Yeah. Now I don't blame him for being upset. I mean, he's got to change something. What he's doing is not working. You know, I mean,
no, it's not.
He's got a good record, like you said, but you can't be stagnant like that. I mean, you're getting beat every time Ohio State loses. They get beat the exact same way. Teams run it down their throat. Oregon did it last year. Ohio State lost 2 games last year. Oregon and Michigan. In those 2 games, they gave up 600 yards rushing. And then now they lose again to Michigan. They give up almost 300. I mean, they're giving up every time they lose. It's the same thing every time. It's 300 yards rushing. You can't win that way.
Yeah,
Not against a good team. You can't. They'll run it right down your throat.
Nope. And I got a friend who I work with. He was an Ohio State fan too, man. He's like, "Oh man, we don't have a Chase Young or a Nick Bosa or a Joey Bosa on this team anymore. That's why." I'm like, "No, that's part of it. Other part is you're just soft and pathetic."
Yeah, I don't know how they run their program. I don't know how their practices are. I don't know if they're getting yelled at or if they're getting coddled. I don't know. But it's pretty clear that when a team mans up against Ohio State can't take it. It's pretty clear. Especially when the team is close to or equal to them in talent. If the talent discrepancy is big enough, look at the Northwestern game. Northwestern pushed them around a little bit. Now Ohio State still won that game because Ohio State's just infinitely more talented than Northwestern. But when Ohio State plays a team that has similar talent and can be physical up front, Ohio State's got no answer for 2 years in a row. For 2 years in a row. Now, they'll probably beat Washington because Washington throws the ball. But, you know, it's just another consolation prize at this point. All right. Thank you for coming on, sir. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Lou, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. There you go. You just went out for a second. What's up, buddy? It's Bama Mike.
What's up, buddy? You all right?
Yeah, you know, same old.
You all right?
Yeah, I might need you to check on me.
Okay.
Bro.
So, did you think what did you think? You didn't think Bama was going to be fifth, did you? You there? We can't hear you. You're cutting out. You there? All right, I'm gonna put you back in the back room and see if you can figure out your reception or something. But we can't hear you at all. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Is it getting this late in the show where they start doing this already? No. All right, he don't feel like saying anything. All right. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou. What's up, man?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I kind of like the idea of going to the Orange Bowl and playing Clemson.
It'll be a good game. Yeah, it's a good matchup. I like that too. Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting matchup, Tennessee and Clemson. If that's what we end up getting in the Orange Bowl, I'm down. I'll watch that.
Yeah, but Penn State is 8th right now. Do you think there's any way that they could overtake Tennessee next week?
I don't think so, and I don't think that it would matter because I think the Orange Bowl has to take an SEC and an ACC this year.
Oh, okay. I always I was informed earlier that Penn State would get the Orange Bowl if they jumped Tennessee.
Well, how is it you think they would jump you? Neither one of y'all are playing.
I know, but things happen that don't make sense all the time.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like Bama
Yeah.
fans thinking they were going to be fifth.
Well, I knew Alabama wasn't going to be fifth, and I knew we weren't going to be sixth. I mean, these Tennessee fans, I know I'm one of them and stuff, but it just makes no sense why they're so upset about Alabama being ranked ahead of us after what happened a couple of weeks ago in Columbia.
Well, I think it's because y'all haven't played in the Sugar Bowl in 32 years.
Yeah, well, I'd rather go to the Orange Bowl this year than the Sugar Bowl, but that's just me. And, if I make that trip, Lou, I'll be driving in your area. Perhaps we can hook up and have lunch or something on my way down there.
Of course. Yeah, you let me know.
All right.
We'll go to T-Bones and get some Tommy fries.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All
right,
always a
Hoghead.
pleasure, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take it easy. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou, big fan.
Hey, what's up, bud?
I'm just wondering, how are we supposed to be scared of Michigan when all they do is a just piss poor impersonation of a Georgia team from like 5 years ago?
Yeah, I don't even think it's really that piss poor. I as a Georgia fan, I like the brand of football that Michigan plays because it reminds me of Georgia. I just think Georgia's more talented. So, like, when you start looking at matchups, a team that worries me. Well, think about the games that Georgia has lost over the last few years. A game to Bryce Young, a game to Joe Burrow, a game to Mac Jones, a game to Kyle Trask. None of those people are J.J. McCarthy. And so, I mean, the way to beat Georgia isn't to be like Georgia. It's to have a good defense and a quarterback that can pick you apart. Michigan doesn't have that.
Yeah, when I was watching the Ohio State-Michigan game, I just was reminded of 2017 Georgia, just watching them out there. But maybe piss poor is the wrong word. Maybe value brand is the better word.
Yeah. I mean, I think Michigan's a really good team. But obviously Georgia's a really good team too. And I don't think Michigan would beat Georgia. I don't think anybody thinks that except for trolls and Michigan fans.
I look forward to them toting another L back to their hockey stadium or whatever they do up in Ann Arbor.
Hockey stadium. Yeah.
All right, thanks for taking my call.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you coming on. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you, yeah.
Hey, with the Penn State Penn State wouldn't get the Orange Bowl, with what the guy was asking earlier. Penn State would get the Rose Bowl because Ohio State can turn it down because they went last year if they don't make the playoffs. So then they would get the Orange Bowl, bumping Tennessee down to the Cotton Bowl, and then Penn State would get the Rose Bowl.
Oh, okay.
That's what.
So who would y'all play if you ended up in the Cotton Bowl? Do you know? Is that a Big 12 team you would play then?
Tulane or UCF.
Oh,
that's
God.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
yeah, I hope y'all go to the Orange Bowl. Look, because there's like a 3-week gap between when they announce that and when that game is played. That would be a great 3 weeks on Jackpot's call-in show, wouldn't it? With Rob and the Tennessee fans.
Yeah,
that would be hilarious. Yeah,
but,
I want to see Tennessee and Clemson in the Orange Bowl. That'd be a good one.
when it comes to, I understand that Tennessee's got that big loss to South Carolina, but that's something that's like a tiebreaker you go to when you don't have a head-to-head or a common opponent or anything like that. And they said, oh, well, it's because Hooker went down. Well, they just played a common opponent, which granted it was Vandy, but they beat Vandy by more than Alabama did at home with Bryce Young. So you can't sit there and say, oh, their offense will take a hit without, it will take a hit without Hooker. There's no denying that. But Alabama, if they don't go to the playoffs, Bryce Young's not playing in the bowl game. So are we going to watch Milroe if he's even still there? It'll probably be Ty Simpson fumbling the ball 13 times in the Sugar Bowl. And they'll be like, well, no fans showed up because we didn't want to be there.
Damn, Kansas State might beat the soul out of Alabama. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
It could happen. I mean,
wouldn't that be something?
like a 10-win Oklahoma team with Landry Jones beat the piss out of them with Josh Heupel calling the plays in, 2014?
Yep.
I mean, they didn't want to be there, though. They get the shit beat out of them in the Sugar Bowl. I wouldn't want to go to the Sugar Bowl if I was in Alabama.
Yeah, that's what they say every time.
All right, man. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, Chris. Good to hear from you, buddy. Let's see. Where are we at now? I guess we will try this person again. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. All right, that's your second time being unable to figure it out, so that's enough for you. Yep. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou. How's it going, man?
Going good.
Hey, I had a question. I know that this is probably going to be Stetson Bennett's last year. He is on his 14th year at Georgia, so I figured this will be his last year. But there's a lot of transfer portal news coming out about quarterbacks leaving their schools. Hudson Card, Cade McNamara, Jeff Sims, just a few guys. Is there anybody in the portal right now that you would like to see at Georgia next year? And if so, you think they'll be able to make a bigger impact than Stetson's made so far?
You talking about a quarterback?
Yeah.
No, I don't want no.
You want to keep Carson Beck?
Yeah, we got 3 quarterbacks. We don't need a transfer quarterback.
Okay. I just didn't. I know I've seen a lot of quarterbacks enter the transfer portal, and I was thinking, if Stetson Bennett leaves, if Georgia would be interested in going to. I don't know how.
The only thing dumber than a high school quarterback coming to Georgia is a college transfer quarterback coming to Georgia, because you've got limited eligibility. So why would you risk? No, there ain't no way. So I would be surprised if any transfer quarterback even considered coming to UGA. But no, we're not going to take a transfer quarterback. No, I don't see that happening.
Also, I wanted to ask, do you think that if Michigan is in a game, I know earlier you said in one of your videos, you said that Georgia didn't really have a lot of NFL guys on their offense other than maybe Brock Bowers. I think that Michigan may have a few on their offense. Do you think they'll have enough talent to at least stay in the game and have a good championship game if it ends up being?
Oh, yeah, I think it would be a better game than last year when Georgia and Michigan played, for sure. It's not even really anything against Michigan. I think Michigan's a really good team. I think Michigan's the second best team in the country. I think they're really, really good. I just don't think anybody's beating Georgia. And I didn't start the season thinking that. I said all off season, Georgia's not winning another national title this year. It's too hard to repeat. It's just not happening. But I mean, we're 12 games in now. I'm looking around. I watch a lot of college football. I don't see anybody that can beat Georgia.
I just know I look offensively and look at in matchup wise. I know that Georgia has a better defense than Michigan, but I would take McCarthy over Bennett. I would take Corum over the running backs Georgia has. I would take Johnson and.
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying. I'd take Bryce Young over Bennett. But Bennett beat Bryce Young in the Natty last year. So it's about the teams. It's not about Michigan's running backs aren't or Georgia's running backs aren't running against Georgia's defense if they play Michigan. They're running against Michigan's defense. I mean, lots of teams have players on them that are better than a player on Georgia. It doesn't mean they would beat them.
Gotcha. Thanks for the call, Lou.
Yeah, all right, buddy. I'll talk to you later. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Good morning, Lou.
Yeah, good morning.
How you doing?
Doing good.
So I want to get back on the quarterback situation. So stats-wise, we look at Carson Beck, and he's coming in like fourth quarter, came in like 3 games this year, threw about 32 passes for like 75%. So when we look at the comparison between Beck and Bennett, more of our improviser quarterback, and then him able to get out of the pocket. He's a better rusher. He's smaller. He's harder to tackle. When we look at Beck, he's taller, has a better field of view. Do you think we'd be able to be more pass heavy again next year than we would be this past year?
Well, we're pretty pass heavy this year compared to most years. I mean, this is the most passing yards Georgia's had in a season since Aaron Murray. That was 10 years ago.
Well, that's true.
But I mean,
Well,
I don't know. I don't
Beck.
know if Carson Beck's better than Stetson Bennett or not. I have no idea. I have no clue. I don't take what somebody does in the fourth quarter in garbage time and try to compare that to what a starter has done when the other team was still trying. So I don't know that Carson Beck is better than Stetson Bennett. The only thing I know is that same thing I keep saying. If Stetson Bennett is the best quarterback on our team, then we need to fire our entire recruiting staff because I don't know what they're doing. If Carson Beck is no good and Brock Vandergriff is no good and Gunnar Stockton is no good and Justin Fields is no good and JT Daniels is no good and DeJuan Mathis is no good, why are we signing them?
I don't know. Let
me ask this. Has Kirby ever signed a good quarterback to a scholarship out of high school? Ever? Can you name one?
That's not. I don't know if I could name that off of a guarantee, but not to my knowledge.
Yeah. Can anybody in the comment section name one? Because we didn't sign Stetson to a scholarship out of high school. He was a walk-on. Now, he got a scholarship later, but so have we ever signed a good quarterback out of high school? I mean, Kirby Smart's had more 5-star quarterbacks in his time at Georgia than any other coach in America during that same time period. And not a single one of them can get on the field. Not one. JT Daniels was so good, we had to bench him. He was undefeated. JT Daniels never lost a game. But he was too talented and had too many stars next to his name, so he had to stay on the bench.
That's a fair point.
I mean, so my thing is, I'm not arguing that Stetson isn't the best quarterback on the team. I'm saying if he's the best quarterback on the team, how's that possible? And this goes back to Fromm. What do we? It's just weird. Who's watching these kids in high school and going, we need him, and then they get to UGA and we're told they're terrible. I don't get it.
And over time that becomes a problem because on a recruiting standpoint, that doesn't make you look good for recruiting.
Well, look at all the wide receivers that aren't coming to Georgia. Would you? If you were a high school wide receiver, would Georgia be even on your top 20 list? It wouldn't be on mine. We played an entire football game on Saturday in 2022, and our wide receivers had 3 catches for 16 yards. That's why we have Ladd McConkey and Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint and not Luther Burden and Marvin Harrison and these people.
And McConkey was a 2-star coming out of high school.
And he's still a 2-star.
That was his break.
Still a 2-star. He's a slot receiver with some juke moves. I'm not putting him down, but I mean, Kirby has put a starter in the NFL at every single position except quarterback. Why is that?
I think production.
And the fact that they're just not very good.
Precisely. We build such a good team around them.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not complaining about the team. The team is great, but I mean, you always are, no matter how good you are, Kirby would tell you this, no matter how good you are, you got to try to get better. Well, if you look at Georgia's offense and you had to pick 1 or 2 areas to try to improve in, what would it be? Quarterback and wide receiver? That would be mine.
It would be mine too. So this is my question. With Bennett leaving at the end of the year, how do we manage Beck if he does end up starting? Do we try to fit in that scheme that we did this past year with the whole getting the quarterback?
Oh, it won't be this year's scheme, no, because Carson Beck actually has an arm and can throw the ball.
Yeah.
So
do we
mean,
go
half
the pocket passer scheme,
something
or do
like
we look more?
Yeah, no, it won't. Half of 70 or 75% of Stetson Bennett's yards are passes at or behind the line of scrimmage. You won't see that with Carson Beck. He can throw the ball downfield.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's any good. I have no idea. I've never seen him play any meaningful time. It's not my job to know. The coaches think he's good. That's why they gave him a scholarship. Right? They're not in the habit of signing bad players, I don't think. So the coaches thought he was good. He's been there 3 years. I mean, right? This is his 3rd year.
Right. We just have to, because it's all going to come down to spring camp. It's going to be, I don't think he's guaranteed start, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
It's going to be a quarterback battle. We're going to have to see who can actually prove themselves to be our
I
starter.
like the idea. The best idea at quarterback on our team, and to me, is Gunnar Stockton. I like the idea of Gunnar Stockton. I don't know how good he is. I don't know.
He's a freshman.
He's a freshman this year, yeah. But
He'll be a
I
sophomore.
like his skill set. He's the best runner. He can also throw the ball. He's not afraid to run. Carson Beck can run a little, but he's not.
Carson Beck, he gives me more of like a Matt Stafford type build.
Well, I think he runs a little better than that. I mean,
I mean, he's thinner, but he's more tall. He's
a big
taller than
guy.
me.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who it's going to be next year. I have no idea. No, I just know it won't be Stetson Bennett. That's all I know. And that's okay with me.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time.
All right, buddy. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. Hope you're having a good day. The first thing I want to talk about is the Rose Bowl. I saw online that the CFP committee is giving them till Wednesday. I don't know why the Rose Bowl has a stick up its ass, but I just don't understand why they just can't deal with it, because pretty much I think the entire 12-team expansion is all dependent on the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I agree with you.
allowing
It's stupid.
themselves
Somebody asked about this earlier. The College Football Expansion Committee should tell the Rose Bowl to go fuck itself. The Pac-12 can
Yes,
form
sir.
its own little tree-hugging league, and they can have their own championship in the Rose Bowl every single year, and the rest of the people that care about college football can do what they want to do and expand the playoffs to 12, and let's get this thing going. But the idea that this whole thing is being held up by the Rose Bowl and the Pac-12 is ridiculous.
Okay, and my other question is, I'm also a corn dog fan, and I feel like we're gonna get our shit slapped on Saturday. But if we get our shit slapped too much, you think we're not gonna make the Citrus Bowl? You think, or at least like?
No, I think you're pretty much. Well, I don't know. Maybe South Carolina could sneak in there, because if y'all lose, you're gonna have the same number of losses as South Carolina, and they finished the season hot. It seems like that would be the next SEC team in line to take the Citrus Bowl. But no, I think it'll probably go to LSU.
Okay, that's good to hear. I'm a Purdue student, so if they both play, I'm so excited to go.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for taking my call. Hope you have a good one.
Yeah, buddy. Good to hear from you. Appreciate you coming on. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
What's up, Lewis Newt?
Hey, what's up, Newt?
Not much, man. My Wolverines won it again.
Yes, they did, in humiliating fashion.
Facts. I was happy, so happy that I almost broke a TV. Yeah.
Well, that's dumb. You don't break a TV because you're happy. Don't ever do that.
Well,
That's
I mean,
silly.
like an accident, but whatever.
Yeah, that sounds real silly there.
I know, but whatever. Did you know that Ohio State has more male cheerleaders than any other school?
That can't be true, because Texas A&M has only male cheerleaders. They don't have any females at all.
They even might have transgender cheerleaders. I don't know.
I don't have any idea.
But one thing I say to Ohio State, you got pushed in like doo-doo. You're so bad that you couldn't even tackle some of our Michigan players. I thought you okay, not you, but for Ohio State defense, you're soft as fuck. You don't know how to tackle. And plus, Jim Knowles' defense reminds me of like Don Brown's defense. You blitz all the time. You do man coverage, and you know what? You can't tackle because you can't tackle your own mom. There you go. But I got heated there. I got too much of that.
Yeah, you better go calm down.
But Lil, hopefully we beat Purdue, which I think we will. But I think Purdue is Purdue do. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, Nate. Appreciate you coming on, sir. It was good to hear from you. Let's see here. Jonah, thank you for hitting the PayPal link tonight to help support the show. He says, here's a contribution for the roses for Ohio State man. Yeah, we got to send Ohio State man a bouquet of roses. He's excited to be heading back out to the Rose Bowl again this year. Bama Mike, thank you, sir. He says, my call dropped. Definitely did not think we would be 5. Happy we even got this close. Still happy about the Sugar Bowl. Sugar Bowl 92 is why I'm a Bama fan. Yeah, that was a great game. That was a great game. That was the first year of the SEC championship game, too, I believe, right? Y'all played Florida, I think. Remember right? Thank y'all for hitting the PayPal link to help support the show. I really appreciate that. You're good people. Cash App. Preston P says, did the Lunch Money show last night get deleted? Yeah, you know I play music at the start and the end of all my shows, and every once in a while the YouTube police will get mad at me about it and put a copyright claim on the video or something and take it down, so nothing I can do about that. Dylan, thank you for the super chat. Do you remember the Sugar Bowl actually mattering for players? I do remember that. I remember it like it was about 5 years ago. Ryan Smith, thank you for the super chat. Bama fans start claiming SEC West co-championship. Jesus. They'll probably put a banner up, too. They'll probably put a banner up for that. That's how sad they are. You hate to see it, don't you? Yeah, you do. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's up, bud?
I was wondering how screwed do you think Wisconsin and Nebraska are with their coaching hires?
I don't think Wisconsin's screwed at all. I think they'll be dominating the Big Ten West effective immediately.
Immediately?
Yeah.
I was thinking they were going to take a couple years.
I don't think so. I think Luke. I don't think so. No, I'm a believer in Luke Fickell.
What about Nebraska?
Nebraska's going to take a while. I mean, they've been bad for 20 years.
Well, it just looks like the cupboard's very slim pickings in the cupboard.
Yeah. Nebraska needs a total rehaul. Just a do-over, start from scratch type of deal.
Do you think Nebraska fans will be patient enough to let that happen, or do you think they'll not make a bowl game next year and demand its head?
I mean, Nebraska should demand to be making bowl games right now. That should be the demand. No matter how bad a team is, they shouldn't be settling for 3-win seasons. I mean, Vandy will fire you after a while if you're just winning 3 games. So when you talk about fan patience, it depends. I mean, if Matt Rule goes 7-5, I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Nebraska's going to have to deal with that for a couple of years. They shouldn't accept 3 and 4 win seasons, and that's why Scott Frost is gone. But if they're thinking they're winning 10 or 11 games next year, then that's delusional. So patience is relative. I don't know what their expectations are going to be.
But you think Wisconsin will recover quicker?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the call. And
all right, buddy. Yeah, it was good to hear from you. Yeah, I'm a big Luke Fickell fan. I think that's a great hire for Wisconsin. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey.
Yeah, good morning.
It's actually it's afternoon for me.
Oh, well, good morning.
I'm Eastern Standard Time, 10:32 in the PM.
I understand.
Eastern Standard Time out here in Georgia. I'm not sure why you still hate Stetson Bennett.
I don't hate Stetson Bennett.
I'm just not sure. No, you do. You do. Yeah, I've been following your channel, and I love it. I love your content. I'm a subscriber. I watch all of it. I love it. I don't agree with 100% of it. Maybe I agree with about 98% of it. But your hatred, and it's not just you. There's a lot of people in the Georgia nation. They just don't like him because he's not that stereotypical quarterback that we as kids, as Generation X, we grew up looking at a quarterback as Joe Montana, Boomer Esiason, Warren Moon. You know, we grew up with this idea of what a quarterback is supposed to be. And then here comes Stetson Bennett. He does not fit that prototype. He doesn't. But he wins, and he finds ways to make plays, and he finds ways to win games. And they said, we cannot win a championship with Stetson Bennett in 2021. Well, you know what happened. We did. Because in the fourth quarter of that national championship game, he came in clutch.
But what about
the
okay. What about the first 3 quarters of the national championship game? How did Stetson play in the first 3 quarters on a scale of 1 to 10? If he played a 10 in the fourth quarter, what did he play in the first 3 quarters? In your estimation, 3. Okay. What about this past weekend against Georgia Tech? How'd he do?
A 3.
What about the week before against Kentucky? How'd he do?
A 3.
The week before against Mississippi State?
A 3.
Why do you hate Stetson Bennett?
Because he plays at a 3. Is that what? So you're saying I'm answering my own question?
No, what I'm saying
is
what you're saying Stetson Bennett didn't play well. That means you hate him. Because that's what you're accusing other people of. You're accusing other people of hating Stetson Bennett for saying he doesn't play well. Right?
Well, let me give some context to that, okay? Joe Montana,
was Buck Bellew the best quarterback Georgia ever had before Stetson Bennett?
No, of course not.
Okay. That's good. That's a good answer.
Okay, was Matt Stafford the best quarterback Georgia ever had?
No, Aaron Murray was.
He was.
Do you think
agree with that?
Do you think that Ladd McConkey? Do you think that Ladd McConkey is better than AJ Green? Do you think that Ladd McConkey is better than AJ Green?
No, of course not. That's a ridiculous question.
Right, but Ladd McConkey won a natty. So I think we agree. So the fact that someone is on a team that wins a natty, that in and of itself doesn't make them great, does it?
That's correct. The point is that the narrative in 2021 on all the Georgia Bulldog websites, on all the discussion boards was we cannot win a championship with Stetson Bennett. It can't be done. And I'll be damned. We won a championship with Bennett. And that's a fact.
That is yes, we won a championship with Stetson Bennett on the team.
To AJ, and I remember in 2008, I was in Jacksonville for the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, and Matt Stafford, AJ Green, and No Sean Marino, and we got our shit pushed in by Tim Tebow, Percy Harvin, and Aaron Hernandez, the fag murderer who ended up offing himself. Okay, so not everything is equal. Sometimes, and more than anyone else, college football, anything can happen because we're talking about amateur players, kids, anything can happen.
Stetson Bennett's 26 years old. He's not a kid.
Is he actually 20? I thought he was 25. Is he actually 26?
If he's 25, would that make him a kid?
Yes.
They're not kids. If Stetson Bennett rapes your wife, you want him to go to juvenile or prison? These aren't kids. These are paid athletes. These are paid.
I could say that about an 18-year-old.
Yeah, right. An 18-year-old would go to prison. So a 25-year-old would definitely go to prison. Yeah, because they're not a kid. They're not kids.
Well,
they're paid athletes.
Okay, I'm trying to get away from the rape back to the football part of this. If you don't mind.
Well, no, I mean, you wanted to talk about Aaron Hernandez, whatever you were saying about homosexuals, so I figured you were open to anything.
That was just kind
Except
of a
you didn't
cheap
say
shot at Florida.
you
because
didn't
I
say
hate fucking,
you didn't say homosexuals.
like
though.
I
You said something else, but
I hate Florida, so I threw in a cheap shot there.
I got you.
But the point is that Aaron Murray, Matt Stafford, all great quarterbacks. Not all great college quarterbacks become NFL quarterbacks.
Right.
I don't think Stetson Bennett is going to be drafted. I would not draft Stetson Bennett if I were a GM in the NFL. He's not NFL material, in my opinion. But to continue shitting on him for doing, basically playing, as you've pointed out, he has not played perfect. He's had good games. He's had bad games. And every quarterback has good games and bad games. Joe Montana has shitty games. Tom Brady has shitty games. All the greatest quarterbacks in history have shitty games.
Right. And when
Stetson
those
Bennett
people
also
had
has
shitty
shitty
games, people came on and they said they played shitty.
Say again?
When Joe Montana played a shitty game, somebody showed up on SportsCenter the next day and said Joe Montana played shitty.
Okay.
And I think that's what people do with Stetson Bennett. I mean, what do you say? I mean, I don't know if you yell at if you're one of those yell at the TV people when you watch the game or not. I don't know, or when you're there. What do you say to yourself when Stetson Bennett throws the ball 10 yards over the head of a guy that's 6'8" repeatedly? What do you say to yourself when you see that happen? Do you go, God damn it,
you
dummy?
I kick the coffee table
yeah.
and scare the dog out of the room.
Well, that's what I do. The difference between me and you is I do it in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
And I yell at shit.
Right. Yeah, that's what I do too.
But after I calm down, I realize, okay, we won, 58-3, but in the first quarter, I threw shit off the table. That's.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I just do it on video live in real time for tens of thousands of people to see. That's all. I do the same thing.
That's right. Good for you. That's why I follow you. I subscribe to you.
Right.
I watch all your videos because I enjoy your content. I'm not shitting on you. I'm shitting on your constant opinions about Stetson Bennett.
I think Stetson Bennett is the least talented offensive player on the team and has been for 2 years in a row. I don't hate Stetson Bennett. I've never hated a Georgia player. There's been very few college football players for any team that I've hated. I hated Baker Mayfield. I hated Johnny Manziel.
You hate Rosamie Jackson. You hate him.
I do.
Yeah, every one of your videos you're talking about, not every one because you do a lot of videos. Any of your content about Georgia, you're telling me this is the best guy we got is Rosamie fucking Jackson?
Yes, he's not very
good.
That
guy's actually a pretty fucking good football player. That guy's a pretty fucking good football player, man.
No, he's not.
That's a fact.
I disagree.
Some guy named Jace is calling me over here in the chat here. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. Go on to the next caller.
I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you
I'm a subscriber. I love it. I'm gonna keep.
I really don't hate I really don't hate Stetson Bennett. I don't think he's a very good quarterback, but I don't hate him. I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. I don't think Marcus Rosamie Jackson's a very good wide receiver. I don't think Chaz Chambliss is a very good outside linebacker. I mean, but I don't hate any of them. But thank you for the call. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you. You're going to have to get your microphone situation figured out. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
What's going on? All right, Uncle Lou.
Yeah.
I've noticed a trend in your videos. All right, are you ready for this? Okay, so first, when you make videos on Kirby Smart, right? You know, when he's not doing the best at Georgia, you know, his performance starts to go up. Then next, you make a video on, what's his name? The coach for South Carolina. I can't think of it. Shane Beamer. Yeah. Then he goes on and beats two top 10 teams, right? You see what I'm going to here?
The video on Shane Beamer was how it's going to be hard for South Carolina to fire him down the road because he's a nice guy. Beating Clemson and Tennessee doesn't change the fact that he's a nice guy.
But what I'm saying is you made videos on him and then they perform well. So
Oh.
I'm begging you. I'm begging you as an Ohio State fan to please start making some videos on Ryan Day because I
Oh.
can't stand it. I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Say no more, fam. I'd love to make some Ryan Day videos. Yeah.
Because we should have went all the way in 2020 with that team. We should have lost to Oregon in 2021, and we can't lose to Michigan. I'm losing my goddamn mind over here. I'm depressed. I'm sick. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I'm sick. The Michigan game made me sick.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I agree with you. It is ridiculous.
And you know, I can leave my my postal if you guys want to send me some roses, because that's probably where we're fucking headed again.
That's right. That's right.
Right
Yeah,
to the
well,
fucking result.
unlike Alabama, y'all do still have a chance to get in. I mean, of course, you need Southern Cal to lose, which could happen. Utah's a good team. I mean, I think Southern Cal will win. They're hot right now, but I mean, I think of the 5 Power 5 conference championship games, I think Southern Cal's the team that's got the best chance to lose. I don't think TCU, Georgia, or Michigan is losing. I think Southern Cal's got the best chance. I don't know that they'll lose, but if they do, y'all are in.
I think even with a loss for like TCU, I think they stay in the same.
I think so. I think probably too. Unless for some reason something weird happens, like they lose by 24 points or something. But if they lose by 3 or 7 or on the last play of the game or it's competitive all the way through, I think they'll probably still stay in. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I got one more thing before I go here, right? All right, this is a weird one, but I keep seeing it pop up in the chat. Someone wants to talk about the Rhode Island Rams. I don't know what that's about, but you know, I guess I'm fulfilling that guy's request if you'd ever talk about the Rhode Island Rams.
What? I'm never going to be talking about the Rhode Island Rams.
Why not the Rhode Island Rams?
Because they're not any good. They haven't played anybody.
But they're the Rhode Island Rams.
Yeah, but they ain't played nobody, and the one time I watched them, they ain't show me nothing.
Wait, you actually watched them?
Yeah, they didn't show me nothing though.
Wow.
5-star dummy.
Well, I guess I tried.
Yes, you did.
Thank you, Lou.
All right,
Thank
buddy.
you.
Yep, we'll talk to you next time, or attempt to anyway. See how it works out. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, how you doing?
Doing good.
I'm a Georgia graduate, Georgia born, big Georgia fan, of course. And I want to go back to the quarterback situation in
Great.
Georgia.
Yeah, my favorite topic.
I love Stetson. Not that I think he's a great quarterback, but I love his heart. My question is, why do you think? I mean, as long as I was at Georgia when we were getting the hell kicked out of us by Florida, and I was down the swamp to see it. Why can we not land a 5-star that we can play like Alabama?
Well, I think we do. We did. Justin Fields. Justin Fields is probably the best quarterback to ever put on a Georgia helmet. Period.
He did.
Bar none.
I agree
In the
with you.
history of time, I think Justin Fields is the best quarterback to ever wear a Georgia helmet. And we shut down his throat and sent him to Ohio State. I don't want to go back over all that again. But
yeah.
And not that we need somebody like Justin Fields again, but it is strange to me that we sign all these highly rated, all these top 10 QBs, and they get to Georgia, and for whatever reason, they're not good enough to play. And again, I'm not saying any of them are better than Stetson Bennett. That's not even the point. My point is, why aren't they?
Right. It just baffles me over and over. My son and I actually drove over to Kroger Field and saw when Georgia played Kentucky, and I think Fields ran 2 plays. You know, it was just a quarterback sneak or whatever, and I was like, that's all they're going to do with him.
Yeah.
And we were just brokenhearted up here because I'm up in West Virginia, and just to see him underused, and we kept on going. Why don't they get him out there?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't understand why Kirby. He builds other good teams around, but we just never have it at the quarterback slot.
I think part of it is that Kirby is conservative by nature. And so I think he would rather play, and this is, forget Stetson for a second. I'm talking just in general terms. I think he would rather play a slightly less talented quarterback who maybe he's more confident won't make a mistake or potentially make a mistake than he would to put a game changer in there who might throw an interception or something. And I'm not saying that's wrong that he feels that way. You got to find one that can do both, though. Other teams find them. I also think that a lot of Stetson, I don't think people always harp and focus on the players or the coaches that I'm hard on, and they never seem to care about the players or the coaches that I'm in love with. I was willing to marry Rodrigo Blankenship in 2016 before any other Georgia fans even knew his name. And you can go back. I got videos demanding Georgia give him a scholarship from back in 2016. No one cares. I think Todd Monken should be making $4 or $5 million a year.
He's definitely doing a great job.
I think he's the single most important piece of this team.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm happy with Stetson's numbers, his percentages, his yards, everything. But look at the play. When we line up in a shotgun and we run a jet sweep, that counts as a pass.
Mm-hmm.
When all those hitch passes we throw, screen passes, tunnel screens to Brock Bowers, hitch passes or swing passes to McIntosh, all these throws at and behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not knocking. That's Monken. I think Monken, considering what he has to work with Stetson and the group of wide receivers, is an absolute genius.
Do you think he's running a lot of those hitch plays just because he doesn't have a lot of confidence in Stetson's arm or throwing into traffic?
I think it's a combination of that and the fact that we really don't have a great group of wide receivers. McConkey is good at what he can do, which is catch the ball behind the line and make people miss. He can't run a 20-yard in route. He can't run a double move post. You need the we don't really have a wide receiver one. We got a bunch of slot receivers. Kearis Jackson is a slot receiver. Don Blaylock is a slot receiver. Ladd McConkey is a slot receiver. The closest thing we have to an actual wide receiver is Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. And he's really more of a possession receiver. He doesn't really have the speed to take the top end off. He doesn't make the crazy athletic catches like a George Pickens did. I don't know what happened to Kearis Jackson and Dominic Blaylock. They were great wide receivers 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Now they can't get on the field. It's strange. I don't understand it, but I think it's a combination of all those things.
Why and like a lot of times, like the Georgia Tech game, I was like, why don't we, when we're pulled ahead, why aren't we at least getting a few plays from some of our backup QBs? I think it'd be nice to see a little more of those guys.
I think so too, especially considering the fact that we know that Stetson is gone after this year. Someone else is going to have to play quarterback next year. And I do think I've seen them let Carson Beck run the real offense more this year than I've ever seen them let a backup run it before. I mean, you remember when they used to send Justin Fields in and he'd do a quarterback sneak and then he was right back on the bench again. It was infuriating. At least when they put Carson Beck in, at least for a drive or two, they're letting him run the actual offense. They're letting him throw the ball. They're letting him roll out. They're letting him do things at the line of scrimmage. So it is a little bit of an improvement, I think, as far as how they're treating the backup quarterback versus how they did it in the past. We'll see if it pans out. Next
like
year.
you said, I'd like to see him run some offense, actually.
Yeah.
Run the real offense instead of just come in for one little hitch pass or something or a handoff and then they're back on the bench.
Yeah, me too.
And I was going to ask you this when we were up here, still to this day, when Alabama, so Saban puts in Tua and he beats us in that game. has got to be one of the heartbreakingest things and amazing things I've ever seen in my life. It almost seemed like an act of God for him to show up and then just smoke us out through the rest of that game. We were just heartbroken up here.
And then did the same thing to us the following year in the SEC title game. Benched Tua at halftime and put Jalen Hurts back in, and he ripped us a new one. Yeah,
I know. It just
and then I'm
absolutely blew me away.
watching. Yeah, and then I'm watching Jake Fromm go like 8 of 30 against LSU in 2018 on the road in Baton Rouge, and I'm like, can we please try Justin Fields? Nope, nope. You know,
I was like, bring in, do pull a Saban. And
yeah,
pull this guy off the
something. I
bench
mean,
and
it
give
was
him a
clear
break.
at halftime Fromm wasn't going to win that game. He was getting sacked. He couldn't complete a pass, and I was like, maybe they'll put Fields in the second half. Takes a lot of balls to make a move like that, even in the regular season. Saban did it in a national title game. Just another reason why he's a GOAT.
That was one of the ballsiest things I think I've ever seen a coach do.
Yeah, because I don't know how many, I guess people remember, but he was Tua was a freshman. I mean, I think he was a redshirt freshman, but still, he had played nothing but a couple of garbage time quarters over the course of that year, and they put his ass in the national title game, and he brought Bama. We had a big lead at halftime. He brought Bama all the way back, tied it up, goes to overtime. Then the I don't even know the word for it, but he takes that huge sack on the first play of overtime. And you remember Alabama didn't have a field goal kicker. Their field goal kicker was horrible. We sacked Tua for a 15-yard loss, and I'm like, that's it, game over.
That's it.
They're not going to be able to kick a field goal from here. This quarterback is in over his head. In the very next play, a dart to the corner of the end zone, game over. I mean, I hate to relive it like that.
It was like a dagger to my heart.
Yeah, and that guy, you know, and he was a true freshman who'd never played before. We got a roster full of quarterbacks. I'm not saying any of them are as good as Tua, but just the balls it took for Saban to do that was unbelievable, and it worked out 2 years in a row for him against Georgia. Yeah, heartbreaking.
What a sack on that guy. That's all I had to say. I was just like, good Lord.
Yep, right.
Hey, I appreciate it, Lou. I'll get some more callers. We appreciate you. We love you up here in West Virginia, and you have a good one, brother.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you calling in. Good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How about them boys in the red, white, and blue earlier today?
Yeah, man, they beat Iran in that 1-0. They advanced to the knockout phase. But you know, it sucks. It's Saturday at 10 in the morning.
I know.
It was either going to be Saturday or Sunday, depending, I guess, on whether they came in first or second in their group. And because they came in second, they're playing Saturday. I was hoping they were playing Sunday just for selfish reason. That works out better for me because on Saturdays I'm so busy with the college football shit. I'm still going to try to watch. You know, I'm still going to make time to watch the game, but it would have been better if it would have been on Sunday. But yeah, I'm excited. That'll be a good one. USA versus the Netherlands.
That second half took at least 10 years off my life.
I know. It reminded me of the Wales game. I don't know if you watched that one, but the U.S.
I did.
So same thing. 1-0 lead. We dominated the first half. We're up 1-0, and in the second half they go into this defensive turtle shell thing, and I'm just like, what are y'all doing? And sure enough, Wales ended up scoring at the end on that penalty kick, and that's what was running through my head in the second half of that Iran game. And it almost happened too because we almost committed a penalty in the box there towards the end of that game with the hand on the shoulder thing. I was like, oh God, but luckily they didn't call it.
When that happened and you fell down, I was like, oh shit, we're about to choke us like we did against Wales.
Yeah.
But if we do that against the Netherlands on Saturday, we're gonna get our shit pushed.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to play better. Yeah.
But anyway, so Alex Golesh, the Tennessee offensive coordinator, he's rumored for the Cincinnati job now. So. I mean, if you're Tennessee looking for an offensive coordinator, in my opinion, the first person I'm calling is Todd Monken. Yeah, I think he's the best offensive coordinator, one of them in the game. That's who I would probably go for, the TCU offensive coordinator or Ohio State or one of them. One of their offensive coordinators got to be one of the best in the game. That's who I would go for if I was Tennessee.
Well, what does the offensive coordinator at Tennessee really do? Because doesn't Heupel call plays or no?
I mean, it's Heupel's system, but he calls the plays basically. So
the OC does?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's Heupel's system.
You probably feel about your offensive coordinator the way Georgia fans feel about the defensive coordinator. We'd like to keep our defensive coordinator, but if we lose him, we know it's kind of Kirby's deal anyway. Right. So you're probably the same way with the offensive. If you had to lose your offensive coordinator, it's not the end of the world because, like I said, it's Josh Heupel's offense.
Right. But yeah. But if I were to go get an offensive coordinator, I'd say Todd Monken. I think Todd Monken can be a good one because
you keep your hands off of Todd. No, you keep your hands off of Todd Monken.
Well, I'm just saying because what he's doing at Georgia.
There ain't enough Chick-fil-A bags on planet Earth for y'all to afford Todd Monken. So no. No.
Yeah. So what they were talking about earlier is on the playoff thing, kind of what the guy earlier, one of them was saying. I would love to see Tennessee in the Orange Bowl playing Clemson. I think that'd be a great matchup.
I'd love to see that too. Yeah, I'd love to see that too.
We have to call into Pigskin Pete's show and talk shit for an entire week.
Right. 3 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, you get 3 weeks leading up to that game, or at least 2, 2.5. Right now, it would be 3. It'd be about 3 weeks leading up to that. Yeah.
Be something like that. Yeah. But they're talking about one of them was saying on the committee show that they would probably put Ohio State in the Orange Bowl probably so they didn't get a rematch in the Rose Bowl of last year with Ohio State and Utah. So if that did happen, like, would that just bump Tennessee down to the Cotton Bowl and they'd play like Tulane or whatever and have Clemson and Ohio State, or would that just be like Tennessee and Ohio State, or what would they do with that?
Yeah, well, that's what somebody was trying to explain to me earlier, that if the Sugar Bowl takes Bama, then the Orange Bowl would take Tennessee, unless Ohio State opts out of the Rose Bowl, which I didn't even know they could do. But I guess because they played in it last year or something, then Ohio State could go to the Orange Bowl and would force Tennessee to the Cotton Bowl. I hope none of that happens because I don't really have any interest in seeing Tennessee play Tulane or Central Florida, but I would love to see Tennessee and Clemson. It's got less to do with Orange Bowl versus Cotton Bowl. I don't really care about that kind of thing. I just want to see good matchups, and I would love to see Tennessee and Clemson.
Right. Yeah, I'd like to see that too because it's a top 10 matchup and it's a New Year's Six Bowl, so it's fun. And Clemson's been good the past like 5-6 seasons, and Tennessee's a good story this year. So I think it'd just be a good game. And I mean, even I know it was Vandy last week, but Joe Milton did look pretty good. But I mean, so what I'm taking away from is he did have his, I would say like the same problems he had the year before. It's just accuracy problems, but he's got all the talent and ability to do it. So I'm curious to see if we're going to go with Nico at some point next year, or if we're just going to sit him for a year, what we're going to do with that. So really, I'm confused on what we're going to do with that if Joe Milton's having the same struggles next season.
Yeah.
But yeah. So one of my friends is an Alabama fan, and the ones that I'm seeing on social media, they're trying to go like buy up all the U.S. or the Utah and Kansas State gear to get in the playoffs. That's what they've been talking about on social media. So that's what it seems like Alabama fans are up to now.
Yeah.
Go donate to the GoFundMe for their tiers. Have you seen it on any social media platform that Auburn fans are complaining about Hugh Freeze and they would rather have Cadillac Williams as their head coach?
Yeah, I've heard some of that. I don't think they should have hired Cadillac Williams. I wouldn't want my team to hire Hugh Freeze. It's got nothing to do with his ability as a football coach. I just, I wouldn't want Hugh Freeze. I mean, are they going to hire Jeremy Pruitt as defensive coordinator? Look, they got Bruce Pearl as a basketball coach. Now they've got Hugh Freeze as their football coach. They might as well bring in Jeremy Pruitt as defensive coordinator.
Exactly, they might as well.
I mean, they just don't give a shit down there.
Right. And they're still going to be mediocre, so it really doesn't matter what they do. But yeah, I agree with what you were saying earlier about TCU. I think it really doesn't matter because their one loss is going to be to top 10 Kansas State, and there's probably like their one loss, so I would still think that they would stay in over.
Yeah, I think unless it's a blowout, I think like if for some reason they were to lose by 3 touchdowns or something, maybe that would knock them out. But if they lose on a field goal or a last play deal or it's close in the fourth quarter, I think they probably still hang on.
And I think it'll be a good game because Kansas State only lost last time because their first and second string quarterbacks got injured.
They were dominating that game. TCU was down 3 scores in the second half when that quarterback went out. So
yeah,
it'll be a good game. Yeah.
But for all you people out there, go leave a hashtag 1998, and you know the channel, your favorite channel, obviously. Go leave a hashtag 1998. They'll love it. It's not like they'll go do anything with it. But yeah, have a good rest of your show.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou, how you doing?
Hey, good. What's up, buddy?
Pretty good. I got a question because I see some really stupid Ohio State fans in here, and apparently that bullying video didn't scare them off.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Let me just ask you a couple hypotheticals here. Okay, let's say your big rivals. What? Probably Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you lost to Florida 8 years in a row, and
Yeah.
then you
happened.
happened to go and beat them last year. Okay, now what would you say if they beat you? What would you say if they went out and they hired a Big 12 defensive coordinator?
I see where you're going here. I thought it was a good hire.
How?
I liked what he did at Oklahoma State. I mean, I obviously overestimated it.
He had one good year.
Yeah, I know. I overestimated it, but I thought it was one of the best coordinator hires of the offseason.
Well, let's put it this way. Okay, let's say that you average about 3,000 yards on the ground per game. How would you feel about a defensive coordinator that runs a nickel?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, it just seems like there's just there are some good Ohio State fans, but there's just some that are just like dog ass stupid, and they just don't seem to gather the most basic things of football. And
I think I have found some of those dog ass stupid Ohio State fans you're referring to. I think I have found some of those in my comment section over the last week or so.
They seem to be showing up like cockroaches, don't they?
Well, they're mostly gone now for whatever reason. I can't figure out why.
I think the bullying video scared them off.
Well, that and the beating they took at the hands of your Michigan Wolverines.
I think they're getting lucky. I don't think there's any team that's not playoff bound that's going to beat them in whatever it's the rose or orange they take.
Yeah.
So I think they get lucky there. Now about the playoffs, I know with you being the team that pounded us good last year, I don't know. I'm on the fence of saying I don't think we're going to be favored. I mean, if I was to put money on it, I would probably pick Georgia again. But I think this game is going to be. Let's assuming we both win our semis. I think it's a game in the fourth quarter, deep into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be a much more competitive game than last year for sure.
And the other thing is, you mentioned, Stetson, the wide receivers. I'm not really all that sold on your secondary.
Yeah.
And I think, there's a lot of people thinking maybe less after the Ohio State game, but, J.J. McCarthy can't pass. We have no air assault.
You ever heard the phrase "fuck around and find out"? We'll see you in L.A. with that secondary we'll see what you think.
And I like our odds, but we just.
How'd they do against Tennessee?
Okay, I'll give you that. He held them 13 points?
Yeah.
And
180 passing, I think.
I kind of wish that Bama had won the West this year because I think Georgia Alabama might be a little bit more interesting this year than Georgia LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, well, LSU's of course, they stumbled last week. Now, Jaden Daniels has the ankle deal. We don't know how healthy he's going to be. It's a tough spot for LSU, for sure.
Do you really think a healthy Jaden Daniels would make a difference?
Not enough of a difference to win the game. You got to be able to complete passes to beat Georgia. He is dangerous with his legs, but, I mean, just half his games this year, he's got under 100 yards passing. That's just not a recipe. So, no, even a healthy Jaden Daniels, no, but hobbled Jaden Daniels, you're taking away the one thing that he does well, which is run around. I hope he's healthy. I don't like anybody to ever get hurt, whether they're playing Georgia or anyone else. I hope he's healthy, but the injury didn't look good, and some of the reports I'm hearing this week, he's still walking around in a walking boot. So I don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in come Saturday.
And, well, let me ask you something. I can't remember off the top. How'd the game against Florida go with you?
We beat them 42-20.
Okay. So basically what you just said about Jaden Daniels is pretty much verbatim about what 99% of people say about Richardson. Now, was he healthy in that game?
Yeah.
So apparently you don't have a real trouble against, SEC quarterbacks that are more run oriented.
George has gotten better at that over the last couple of years. I think a lot of it, I think, is obvious. It's the proliferation of running quarterback. You know, it used to be you'd play one or two teams a year that had one of those kinds of quarterbacks. Now almost everybody has one. So it's kind of just getting to be a familiarity thing at this point. But George is a little bit better at handling the running quarterbacks now than they were a few years back. Now, Jaden Daniels and Anthony Richardson are kind of different styles of running quarterbacks. You know, Anthony Richardson's built like Cam Newton, so he'd just soon run you over. Jaden Daniels is like a shifty, straight line speed type of guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you guys haven't gone that route yet because, I mean...
yeah, you and me both.
I mean, all these, like you said, the SEC's got a bunch of these mobile quarterbacks. You know, you got, I think you probably kind of go after like the KJ Jefferson up at Arkansas type deal.
Yeah. Stetson can move around. He's small, so he doesn't like to take a lot of hits, and so for that reason, he doesn't run very often. But when he does run, he's pretty shifty. I mean, I give Stetson a hard time, but in the open field, he's hard to handle for a linebacker or a DB.
And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong because you see more Georgia than I have. You don't have in this coming front seven, there's not nearly as much NFL talent as there was back like in the Roquan Smith era, right?
Well, the front seven is not as good as it was last year. As far as NFL talent, there's probably just as many draftable guys, not as many first round guys though. There's linebacker, we're young at linebacker. Now one of them's a Butkus Award finalist again, but he's a sophomore. He's not Nakobe Dean. So we're not – last year, this is how I've described it to people. Last year, Georgia's defense last year smothered people. I mean, it was just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That's not Georgia's defense. Georgia gives up a lot of first downs. There's a lot of drives where Georgia's defense comes out, the other team starts after a touchback on the 25. They get 2 or 3 first downs. They get up towards midfield, and the drive bogs down. Last year, it seemed like hundreds of 3 and outs. So we don't have that kind of just overwhelming, smothering front seven that we had last year where every single time the team was looking at 2nd and 13. It's not like that this year. It's played pretty well, but not on the level of last year.
Yeah, aren't you comparative at least to last year? Aren't you guys down a little bit in the sack count this year?
Way down. Yeah, we had a 2 or 3 game stretch where we kind of got it going between Florida and Tennessee, but like there was a stat like heading into the Florida game, which was on Halloween this year. So basically, about our 7th or 8th game, whatever it is, we had like 6 sacks all year, whereas last year at that same time we had like 26.
Jeez.
Now it picked up during a 2 or 3 week period around the Florida and Tennessee, and I think we sacked Hendon Hooker 6 times or something like that. But no, we're not. The sacks are not where they were last year. And we lost Nolan Smith, with our best outside linebackers done for the year with a torn pectoral muscle. That's hurt us a little bit. He was one of our best guys as far as getting after the quarterback goes. He got hurt in the Florida game. He's done for the year. So yeah, sacks not where they were last year.
Now, are you still getting a lot of pressure, or is that dropped down too?
No, that can be frustrating because we do get a lot of pressure, but I don't know if it's the running quarterback thing or what. We have a hard time getting there. Kirby says the same thing every time. He's like, "Well, these teams are getting rid of the ball in 2.3 seconds," and yada blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm just an idiot that counts sacks, and I say, well, we had this number last year and this number this year, so to me it seems like it's not as good. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just I have a hunch that it's going to come down to us in the final, so I just
yeah, I think so too.
For the Bulldog knowledge.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, buddy. Hey, let me let you go because there's a whole room full of people back here. But it was good to talk to you, and I'm sure during the month of December we'll have plenty to talk about.
Oh, I hope so too. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. Talk to you next time. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, real quick question. I saw Pigskin Pete on his YouTube channel mention something about Dabo threatening to leave Clemson again. I don't know if you watched his video that he made. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, this is part of Dabo's whole crybaby routine. A fan called in. I don't think Kirby does this. Mark Rick used to do it. Maybe Kirby does it. A Monday call-in show on a radio where you can actually call in and ask the head coach a question. So Dabo does this every Monday, and so of course the Monday after the South Carolina game, a fan calls in and basically just straight up asked Dabo Swinney, look, considering the struggles that we've had offensively the last couple of years compared to the offense in the couple of years prior to that, are you considering making any staff changes offensively? And Dabo went into his little poor, pitiful me speech, and he was like, you know what, we're 10-2, and if that's not enough to make people happy, then maybe I don't need to be the coach here anymore. And that's basically that's not basically what he said. That's exactly what he said. If 10-2 ain't good enough, maybe I don't need to be the coach here anymore.
Right.
Just ridiculous. He could have just came up with some BS answer and kept it moving. But instead, he has to put all the attention on himself again, which he loves to do. He has to rub the rock first. He has to run down the hill first. Everything's about Dabo Swinney. And he did it again. So, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not the biggest Dabo Swinney fan. I don't like his personality, the way the crybaby stuff, and ESPN hates me, and the voters want Clemson to lose so they can lower our ranking and all. Just shut up, man. I get tired of hearing it.
Poor old Clemson.
Yeah, poor old Clemson. Yeah, that worked when you were 7-5 every year. Like, no one's feeling sorry for Clemson anymore. You've won 2 national titles in the last 6 years. You're one of the best 5 programs in the country. You average 11 wins a year over the last 10 years. No, stop with the old poor, pitiful Clemson routine. It's old.
And it's kind of funny seeing from a perspective. Pigskin Pete, he had the YouTube video up. He was pissed about it.
Yeah,
and
it's a bad look. Yeah, look. Pete's one of those fans that can admit when his team does something bad, or his team plays bad, or his coach does something dumb or stupid or whatever. He's not just a blind homer, and it is a bad look when your coach is basically telling the fans, "Hey, if you're not happy with what I'm doing, maybe I should get the hell out." I mean, that's come on. It's condescending. Yeah. It's immature.
Yeah, sounds like a couple of ex-girlfriends I used to have. Anyway, I got one more question for you. I'll take it off the air.
All right.
Georgia Tech just hired their interim coach. I want to hear your thoughts about that. Thanks
Georgia Tech.
Late,
Georgia Tech. Yeah. All right, Colby. I appreciate you calling on. Look, man. Georgia Tech. This is probably the biggest disaster of a coaching search I've seen since Tennessee, leading up to the hiring of Jeremy Pruitt. If you remember, Tennessee interviewed 7, 8, 9, 10 people, whatever it was. They all said no. It was just a huge mess. Then they finally hired Greg Schiano, and the fans didn't like that, so they unhired Greg Schiano, and they just kind of ended up with Jeremy Pruitt. Georgia Tech interviewed 12 people for this job. 12. All 12 said no. And the issue is, how coaches are getting these guaranteed contracts now, right? So you say, okay, we're going to give you a 4-year contract. We're going to pay you, I'm just making a number up, $7 million a year, okay? Well, the coaches want that money to be guaranteed. In other words, if I leave in 2 years or you fire me in 2 years or whatever, I want all $28 million. And Georgia Tech couldn't afford to do that. Was unwilling to do it. Couldn't afford to do it. These are the reports. You can read them. They're on ESPN. 12 people. 12 people told them no. So they end up hiring their existing offensive line coach off of the staff that has won 3 games for 3 years in a row. It's not a good hire. The fact that you see this a lot when coaches are fired, that some low-level coach gets promoted to interim coach. The players like the coach, so the team looks a little bit better than it did before. I don't think this is a good hire. They wanted Jamie Chadwell. Jamie Chadwell, the coach at Coastal Carolina, which is who I thought they were going to get and who I thought they should have got. Jamie Chadwell was offered the job at Georgia Tech, turned it down, and took the job at South Florida, another Group of 5 team. He turned down a Power 5 job and took a Group of 5 job. That's what a disaster Georgia Tech is. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Uncle Lou, how you doing tonight?
Doing good.
So I got a question for you. I don't know if you've heard the rumors, but there's some rumors circulating around about Sam Hartman maybe transferring to UF, basically to like sort of test out his value in the NIL market.
Yeah, I have
kind
heard
of
that.
deal. You have or have not? Sorry. All right. You think it's one of those situations where like maybe him or like his NIL agent or something like that like circulates that rumor around to like see if he can get more money from like the Wake Forest boosters, or what do you think?
I don't know if that's true in particular with Sam Hartman, but I do think you're going to see a lot of players enter the portal who have no intention of transferring anywhere, and they're only doing it to leverage more NIL money. I don't know if that's true about Sam Hartman, and I don't know that we're going to know when that's true about anybody or not at any time or any player. But I do think you're going to see a bunch of people enter the portal, and then whether it's a week later or 3 weeks later, they're going to be out of the portal right back on the team they were originally with, and it's all about leveraging themselves for more NIL money.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that that's where college football's at right now, but you can't really blame them personally. I mean, like, if I had the opportunity to, like, leverage my skills to make, like, a couple million extra dollars, like, of course I'd take that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't blame the kids for trying to do it. I think there's a risk involved. You may end up not having anywhere to play.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if you listened to Josh Pate's show at all, but
I do.
he basically made that point as well, where he was like, "This is why," and I've talked to like multiple different like head coaches that like talk to the show, and they've all said the same thing. It's going to be like by far the most crazy, the most busy portal period ever.
Yeah, my biggest issue with the portal right now, and I've got several issues, so it's not like this is the only issue, but the biggest problem to me with the portal, if it's going to basically be NFL free agency, then there needs to be a hard and fast time limit on it, like there is in NFL free agency. You can't just decide one day in the NFL that you don't like the team you're on and you want to become a free agent. That's not how it works. They need to narrow down a time frame. It's too much, I think, to expect these. Look at teams that are in the playoffs this year. They've got to prepare for a conference championship game, prepare for playoffs, signing day the second week in December, and all the while manage their roster numbers with players on their team entering the portal, plus monitor the portal for other players on other teams that are entering that they might need for next year. It's too much to do all at the same time. They need to put some stops. They need to close the transfer portal down during certain times. Like don't even open the transfer portal until after the December signing. Hell, don't even open the transfer portal until after the national championship game, and then have a 3-week period between the national championship game and the signing day in February where players can enter the portal. Because how do you know as a coach how many players you can even sign on signing day? You don't even know how many players you can sign. You might think you can only sign 25 players, but then you have another 5 players enter the portal in March, and now you're short 5 scholarship players. You got to go dumpster diving in the portal to backfill it. It's just a mess.
And the crazy thing to me is that like this was pitched as a way to like make college football more fair and equitable, but all you're seeing is all this talent that was like maybe under recruited, maybe underlooked by like bigger schools that went to smaller schools, like Sam Hartman, for example, filtering his way up through competition. You're gonna see like the top 25-ish programs in the country just skyrocket away from everybody else.
Yeah, like now some things didn't work out for Bama through the transfer portal, but look at Jahmyr Gibbs. The guy would have wasted away at Georgia Tech. He goes to Bama, and now he's going to be an NFL talent. And you're right, teams like Bama, whoever else you want to name, the transfer portal is going to be just like another signing day. They're still going to get the best players.
Well, you think Anthony Richardson's the guy for us?
Do I think he's what?
You think he's going to be the guy for us? I just don't.
For Florida?
I don't see him developing at all.
I wouldn't. If I was a Florida fan, I wouldn't want him anywhere near me. I don't think he's any good. I think he's playing the wrong position. I don't think he's willing to change positions, but I don't know what he's going to do. As he said, he's not going to try to go to the NFL, is he?
So like the media around here is trying to push it like he is. I don't even know why that's a story. That's a ridiculous notion to me.
I mean, when he shows up at the combine, he's going to impress people because he looks like he was built in a lab. He can throw the ball 1,000 yards. He probably runs a 4.40. I'm sure his long jump and his vertical are going to be amazing. But like we've all seen him play football, and he's not any good at it.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do with him. I have no idea.
I mean, hell, the last Florida State, what was he, 9 of 30?
Something like that.
Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, it felt like that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was like 9 of 30, 8 of 29. It was something like completed 30% of his passes. I mean, I'm just, come on, this is no good. Hey, thank you for the call. I'm gonna have to let you go, trying to wrap things up here. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great.
How about that U.S. men's team, man?
That was a hell of a game today. I went and went and picked my kids up early from school today so we could watch the game.
Seriously?
Yeah, the game came on at 2. They don't get out of school till 2:30, so I went and picked them up. I went to Wingstop, got a bunch of wings and French fries. Went and picked them up from school early, and we sat and ate wings and French fries and watched the World Cup. Yep, I sure
Hell
did.
yeah, dude.
I'm the cool dad.
The main thing I want to talk to you about is how do you feel about Joe Milton next year at Tennessee?
I think almost any quarterback you put in that offense is going to put up numbers.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. 100%.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people try to say that like he's inaccurate with the deep balls, which is true. He's not nearly as efficient as Hooker, but the thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand is that like those deep throws are low percentage plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I'm Tennessee, I'm more worried about like which wide receivers are y'all losing? What about Hyatt?
Hyatt's probably going to the league. Brew is staying.
Okay, that's good because he's really good too. He kind of got overlooked this year a little, I think, because of he had some weird transfer situations where he was back and forth from Texas to Southern Cal and all that, and then he had the investigation stuff at Southern Cal and all that got thrown out, so that's no big deal. But he was a super talented guy.
Yeah. If I'm betting though, I'm betting.
What about Tillman?
And Tillman's out eligibility.
Okay, so you have Brew McCoy. You got to get somebody to go on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be more worried about that than I would about Joe Milton.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. What about the running back situations? What's the kid's name? Jabari Wright?
Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright. Is he coming back?
He should come back. And we have Dylan Sampson.
Okay.
And Justin Williams is a true freshman this year.
And now, is there any way y'all can sign 145 defensive players?
Dude.
Because that would be good.
I'm hoping and praying that, because I personally don't really like Tim Banks that much.
I don't blame you. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I also think though, and this isn't an excuse for Tim Banks. I think he's in over his head.
I agree.
I do think that it's going to be very hard for a Tennessee defense to put up good statistical numbers as long as the offense is scoring every minute and a half.
Yeah, because time of possession is just such a huge issue.
Yeah, teams are just going to get so many possessions because you score so quick that the defensive numbers are bound to look a little bit worse probably than they are. Now, I'm not making excuses like, giving up 49 to Bama and 100 points combined or whatever, but, the Tennessee thing. Like, so I'm not making complete excuses, but, like, I don't think Tennessee's ever going to have, like, a top 5 scoring defense and a top 5 total defense. Like, it's just never going to happen with that type of offense. But what you can't have is, like, the 100th ranked passing defense. Like, that's unacceptable. That's got to tighten 100%. Up. You got to get it down to the 50s maybe.
Yeah. I don't really know about a lot of our good defensive players' eligibility, but I really don't care.
Right.
Because it all needs work.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, what's going on, Lou? How are you, man?
Doing good.
is there anything about this year's Michigan team versus last year's that scares you, in terms of,
Well, the quarterback scares me more. The quarterback, it's an upgrade at quarterback. I think the running back situation is maybe a little bit better, but we got to see about Blake Corum. I hope he'll be fine. He's got about a month to heal up, so I hope he'll be able to play. I don't want anybody to be injured, but they had good running backs last year too, and they averaged 1.8 yards a carry. So I think the biggest improvement for Michigan has been the change of quarterback.
Right. And then did you do a hype and hate video for Georgia Tech this year? I thought I saw one pop up on my phone and then it disappeared and I couldn't find it.
No, I didn't do one.
Okay.
I will be doing one for the next 3 games though.
Oh, okay, good. That's my favorite Uncle Lou videos because that's when you do your best trash talking to me. So
yeah, I had to take a break this year from doing like Vandy and Kentucky and stuff like that. It's just hard to come up with new stuff to say about 4-win teams. So I tried to just focus on the bigger games. Like I know I did Oregon, I did Tennessee. I think I might have done 1 or 2 more, but I had to skip some of them because it just what am I going to say about Vandy for the 6th year in a row? It just, felt
the
stale.
Oregon one was epic.
Yeah, the Oregon one was good. The Tennessee one was good. See, when I spread them out and kind of save them for the bigger games, and I feel like they're better videos anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, just with the fact that it's Georgia Tech, it's clean old fashioned hate for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say you got to do one of those because those people there were Tech fans at the game on Saturday that, they're like sitting there clapping about Georgia Tech getting a first down like they had just won, the national championship or something.
Oh, yeah.
They were kind of ridiculous. Did you run into any of them?
Yeah, I saw a few here and there. They didn't have anything to say to Uncle Lou. So
no, of course not. Of course not. Yeah. But anyway, how did BA enjoy her first game?
She loved it. Yeah, she loved it. Yeah, she had a great time.
Good. Yeah, I was going to try to meet up with y'all, and I texted Raj, but his phone froze up, and so I was never able to find out where y'all were. But maybe if you go to a game next year, I might be there too.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, buddy. Appreciate the time, man, and go USA.
All right, man. Talk to you next time. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. How you doing?
Doing good.
Just studying for a test right now, but I was just watching the stream, and I thought I'd come on and ask, who do you think the QB will be for Georgia next year? I feel like we have a lot of people coming back, and so, we're good. The offense is going to be pretty good. The defense, I'm never worried about the defense with Kirby.
Right.
People were talking about this year being the down year. So if this year's the down year, then what does that make next year?
Yeah.
I really just feel like the quarterback.
I was mentioning that the other day. What are people going to, after we win the national title this year, what are people going to say? Because the talking point last year was, okay, yeah, you won the national title, but you had a generational defense and it's all gone to the NFL. Okay, well, last year we gave up 9 points a game. This year we're giving up 11 points a game.
Exactly.
So, but the point is, yes, you're right. We lost a lot of guys off last year's defense, which guess what means? A lot of the guys on this year's defense are sophomores. All those linebackers are coming back. Jalen Carter's gone. Nolan Smith, of course, is gone. Robert Beal's gone. Keely Ringo's gone.
Pieces,
but the majority. Yeah. And then on offense, like, really, what are you losing there? Like, I'm never worried about Georgia's offensive line. I know we're going to lose a couple, but I'm never worried about that. The wide receivers, Ladd McConkey has to come back. He's a sophomore. Bennett's gone, but, hey, addition by subtraction. Running backs. Now, running backs is interesting to think about for next year because I don't know. I don't know if Dejon Edwards can come back. Kenny McIntosh will probably go pro. And then, of course, you got the freshman Branson Robinson, who's looked okay at times. And then the other freshman who blew his knee out in summer camp, which was never able to play this year, Andrew Paul. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, the running backs haven't really been what they had. Like, I loved Zamir White and James Cook, but they were no, like, Nick Chubb, Sonny Michel, DeAndre Swift. So I don't feel like, that's more of a plug-and-play kind of position now with how we're running the ball less than we have in years past. And, like, just the short passes, it just allows, I think, any running back, that, at least that we recruit, is going to be successful in the system.
Yeah, I mean, Brock Bowers will be back at tight end, Ladd McConkey at wide receiver. Got to find 1 or 2 other wide receivers. A.D. Mitchell, I'm assuming, is going to have to come back because he didn't play any this year, and he's not a George Pickens type talent. He's good, but he's not George Pickens. George Pickens could have gone pro out of high school. Like, everybody knew that guy was going to be an NFL wide receiver. Yeah. I'm not saying A.D. Mitchell can't be an NFL wide receiver, but he hasn't put enough on tape in college right now, so he's probably going to have to come back. Brock Bowers, I mentioned already. And Eric Gilbert is kind of the wild card. I don't know what's going on with him. I still think he's super talented. And, whatever it is that's this, government secret that's going on with him, if he ever gets it straightened out, I still feel like he's got potential to be a really good football player at some point. Oscar Delp, true freshman this year. So as long as the quarterback is competent, he doesn't, we've proven we don't need a Heisman winning quarterback to take us where we want to go. But I mean, I don't know if it's what the trolls will say, but does anybody really think? And then look at Georgia's schedule next year. You think people make fun of Georgia's schedule this year? Wait till they see next year.
We lost Oklahoma. It was a little bit better, but
the only non-con game we have is Georgia Tech. The other three are group of fives. Yeah. Auburn's going to have a brand new coach. I know it's Hugh Freeze, but it's all probably going to win that one. Tennessee is probably the toughest game next year at Knoxville. Florida's in permanent rebuild mode. Kentucky's losing Will Levis. Missouri is a nothing team. Vandy's a nothing team. We do play Ole Miss.
Okay.
In Athens. We play Ole Miss, but we get them in Athens. So, that'll be an interesting game. But Kirby's first game against Lane Kiffin, at least as with Lane as a head coach.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario, what? Georgia's a top 7 or 8 team next year instead of winning a national title. I mean, Georgia's not going anywhere.
Yeah, but worst case, and the path is there. Definitely. Yeah. And people don't want to hear it. This was supposed to be the down year, so what does that make next year? It's
right.
And other teams, like, this was supposed to be other teams up year, like Alabama.
Yeah, Bama, we're talking to you.
Ohio State, Michigan, like, they're going to be down again next year like they were last year. Like,
facts.
It's, I don't know. We're on a good tear right now. Hope you keep it up.
Yeah.
Good talking to you, Lou.
All right, yeah, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
How you doing, Lou? You doing all right?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Things I want to talk. First thing I want to say is, who's that coming down the track?
Oh, wrong one. There you go. How about Tennessee?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, throughout this whole season, watching Georgia play, Oregon game, I was like, this is probably the best fucking team I've seen. And then you get to the Missouri game and Kent State, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I don't know if it's just me or I'm sure other people think this too, but I just feel like Georgia is just so close to one mess up. Like, one game is going to be what, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to drop the ball. And the sad part is at the end of the season where we got potentially 3 games to go, and I damn sure hope it's not one of those.
Yeah, these are the 3 that matter. Now, a lot of times when a team wins a national title, you'll hear this talking point. Well, they're probably not going to win it again next year. It's hard to win 2 in a row. The team gets complacent. Blah, 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 blah. I think there was some of that with Georgia. I think, all offseason when people looked at Georgia's schedule, they said, okay, they play Oregon week 1. Then they got 6 or 7 absolute nothing burgers in a row, leading up to and then you have the Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi State stretch. I think that's kind of what happened. I just think like week 2 through 5 and 6, some of the talking points kind of trickled down into the team, and they just basically sleptwalked through 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and that that's what happened with the Kentucky and the Kent State, or not Kentucky, Kent State, Missouri, and even Samford sort of. But if you look at, like, Georgia has played its best games in what people said were going to be their hardest games. Oregon, Tennessee. It seems like Georgia's got the ability to turn it on when they think that's what they need to do. Now, I don't like when teams play that way because, just like you said, all it takes is one slip up, and as long as you got human beings during the season that are voting on things, who knows? You lose one game, maybe they don't put you in. Now we got lucky, not lucky, we're good. But anyway, we made it through without any losses, and it looks like we could probably even lose the SEC championship game and still make the playoffs. I don't want to lose the SEC championship game. I want that first round game in Atlanta, not in Phoenix. I just think that would be better, almost like a home crowd for Georgia. They can get that game in Atlanta, and if they're the 1 seed, it'll be in Atlanta. And the other thing is, and I think it was on Monday's show we talked about this, but coaches are always looking for like anything they can use to motivate their team, you know? Well, as good as Georgia was last year in winning the national title, they didn't win the SEC championship game. So maybe that's something that Kirby harps on all this week. You know, hey, you have a chance to accomplish something. As good as last year's team was, y'all have a chance to do something this year that last year's team didn't do. So I'm hoping we get the version of Georgia this week that showed up in the other quote-unquote big games, Oregon, Tennessee, Florida, whichever ones you want to point at, and Georgia goes out there and handles business. I hope that's what happens, not a Kentucky or a Mississippi State or a Georgia Tech type of situation.
Well, and the thing that scares me about it with, people say, you could still lose the SEC championship again. LSU, they put them at 14.
Yeah.
And if a number 1 team loses to a 14, does the committee say, okay, well, it's still Georgia? Or, you know what I mean? Like,
I think Georgia would. Again, do you really want? I agree with you. I don't want to leave it in the hands of the committee. I think Georgia would. I'm 99% sure Georgia would still get in if they lost to LSU, but I don't want to put it in the hands of the committee. I'd rather just go out there and handle business.
I mean, let's just face it. We're not losing to LSU. That's not going to happen.
Right. I'm with you.
That's going to. I think we go to the national championship again, and I mean, it'd be. I'm thinking it might be Michigan, but I'd like to go up against TCU.
Yeah.
That would be cool too. But yeah, I think we're gonna get it. But Stetson Bennett, still my boy, went to my first Georgia game ever this year. But however, it was the G-Day game.
Oh, I love the spring game. I love the spring. It's so much fun.
I had said, so I was like, I always want to go to one. And I went down there, $5 tickets, whatever, never went, wanted to try it out. Went down there and I was like, I don't know if I'd want to go back. And then I was telling my girlfriend, I said, the path that Georgia's on, I said, we win a national championship, I'm going back to the game and a regular season game. So
yeah,
Georgia's going to determine whether I make my butt down there again.
Well, I hope they make you go then. All right, buddy. I appreciate you coming on, man. It was good to hear from you. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. All right. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm a first-time caller, and, man, I got to say, it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine,
I hear you. Big win.
They look pretty good, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and my prediction actually came true. I said Michigan was going to destroy them, and they won't have a chance to get embarrassed by Georgia. And that ended up coming true. It was pretty embarrassing for them to be looking that far ahead.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened last year with them. But anyway, yeah. So these Ohio State fans, they got to be the most annoying people on the internet right now. I see a bunch of them in the comment section, in the live streams, saying the most ridiculous stuff. And they're getting dragged. I mean, these Ohio State fans, they're softer than their defensive line, man.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
They keep coping in the live chat and the comments. They need to own their loss instead of huffing on copium. It's embarrassing.
Right.
The Wolverines, they live rent-free in the minds of Ohio State fans, and it's really embarrassing.
Yeah,
but
it's a shame.
and there was a Ohio State fan that came on earlier that said that their loss wasn't on the defense. And that didn't really make very much sense to me at all. I mean, J.J. McCarthy was dropping bombs on him. Donovan Edwards walked through the defensive line. I mean, he had a hole the size of a U-Haul,
Yes.
He did that twice. And, I mean, Ohio State, they were literally crying on the sidelines. You can see pictures of their team.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a lot easier for a fan to say, we lost because the other team was better, or we lost because the coaches did this or that, or we lost because of the refs. That fans can sort of deal with a loss that way. They can't deal with the fact that their team is soft. Like, that's the one thing they don't want to be, but that's what they are. they're soft. They got pushed around for the second year in a row by Michigan, and until they toughen up, these kinds of things are going to continue to happen to Ohio State. They're soft.
Yeah, I agree. They're completely soft. And I mean, even the recruits can see that. They're up to 3 recruits now that were at that game that ended up committing to Michigan. That's just embarrassing.
That's very embarrassing.
That's pitiful, you know. Anyway, I think that in the end, it'll probably be Michigan and Georgia in the Natty. And I think that'll be a good game.
I do too.
I just think that Georgia's on another level, though, at the moment. I think Georgia will probably win that, even though I'm a Michigan fan, obviously. But I think hopefully it'll be closer than last year, more competitive. I think that will be, but it's certainly an uphill climb for us. But I think that we're pretty much the only team in the playoffs that could maybe give some sort of a competitive game to Georgia. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I kind of agree. Southern Cal, I don't worry about losing to Southern Cal, but the teams that Georgia has lost to over the last 3 or 4 years have been teams that have quarterbacks like Caleb Williams. So that kind of worries me, but Southern Cal's defense just gives up way too many yards and points. Even if Southern Cal played Georgia and was successful offensively and scored 35 points, which would be unheard of to score against Georgia, I'm confident Georgia would score 45 on them. Like, their defense is bad. Michigan's defense is not bad. Michigan's defense is really, really good. And whatever happens between Georgia and Michigan, I do think it would be a closer game than last year.
Yeah, hopefully. I think that'll be a good one. But I mean, maybe I'm looking at maybe we'll get our shit pushed in by TCU. Who knows?
Well, I think y'all will beat TCU, but I do think nationally TCU is better than what they're given credit for nationally. People just look at them as like, oh, they barely win these close games, and that's true. They did have a couple of close calls, but their quarterback is really, really good. He knows how to win. He's a playmaker. He can do it with his arms and his feet. They're a fun team to watch. I don't think it's a given that Michigan would beat TCU, although I think it's likely Michigan would beat TCU.
Right, yeah. I think I'm pretty much in the same boat, I think. But anyway, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Go
buddy.
Blue.
Good to hear from you, man. Take it easy. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Lou. Sorry, man. My call dropped earlier.
That's all right.
I'm with you, bro. I think we're gonna beat the shit out of OSU. They have no chance, and USC has no defense. Their defense is terrible.
Yeah. Now they create all kinds of turnovers. That's the reason. If you want to look for one single reason why Southern Cal is 11-1, turnover. They lead the country in turnover margin. They don't turn the ball over, and although their defense isn't great, they create a lot of turnovers, and that's what's kept their head above water this year.
Yeah. Lou, I'm gonna get your take on this, man. I don't know if you heard, but Deion Sanders was offered the Colorado job. Do you think he'll take?
I would be surprised if he took the Colorado job. I would be surprised.
Do you think his son will follow him?
I think wherever he goes, he'll take his son with him, and Travis Hunter, and maybe a few others. Yeah, maybe a few others. Yeah, I do.
Too, man. Cause I like Deion Sanders. I really believe. I think he also said no to fucking Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I'm sure he was probably one of the ones. They interviewed 12 people. He was probably one of them. He probably turned it down. He's too smart to go to work there. All right, Nick, I'm gonna have to let you go, buddy. I'm way over time today. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou.
Hey, Uncle Lou. I just want to say first things first. Go Blue.
Yes, sir.
I wanted your thoughts on. I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite team to rag on when they lose?
Well,
because I noticed you really enjoy ragging on Ohio State.
It depends on the situation. I'm going to be honest with you, and some people who've been around this channel for a long time catch on to this, and it's not really a secret, even though I don't come out and say it. The reason, I'll be honest with you, and I don't know if you saw my Ohio State Michigan preview video I did, but I picked Ohio State to win.
I saw it.
Obviously, I was wrong, and that's fine. Look, I pick 1,000 games a year. I get a lot of them wrong. I truly thought all year, you can go back and look at my top 10 rankings I did every week. I truly thought Georgia and Ohio State were the two best teams in the country. I thought it was very likely Georgia and Ohio State were going to end up playing in a national championship game. And so I made a concerted effort to start pissing Ohio State fans off about 3 or 4 weeks ago in an attempt to get them over to this channel. And it worked.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately, they shit the bed and y'all beat the hell out of them. And now they're nowhere to be found. But now there still is a chance we play Ohio State, but instead of a national championship game, it'll be in the semifinal game. You know, if Southern Cal loses, then Ohio State will slide into that 4 spot. And man, look, do you have any idea how much fun I will have during the month of December if I have a 3-week lead up to a game with Ohio State? I'm gonna crawl up inside their asshole and make a nest in there. I'm gonna have so much fun.
Me personally, I'm really hoping they don't get in because I don't know. Like, I'm kind of just expecting to lose to Georgia. I don't know. I don't really have too much confidence that we'll beat you guys. But if it were to possibly happen that we were to meet Ohio State in the national championship, losing to them, I couldn't take it. So I just hope USC and TCU take care of business, and I don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, I can tell you losing to because of course we lost to Bama in a national title game. Losing a national title game to a team in your own conference is probably worse than losing a national title game to anyone else. Yeah.
I bet. That was all.
All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck to Michigan, and we'll talk to you soon. Good morning. You're on with Uncle Lou. Going once. Going twice. Gone. All right, that's it for the phone calls. That was the last contestant, and he caught a sudden case of the hush mouth for whatever reason. What do we got going on here? What is this? Let me get caught up on these super chats. Ryan Smith, thank you for the super chat. He says, Lou, you remember when the Michigan O-line wore the run the ball shirts prior to the college football play? I do remember that. They all walked into the stadium, the whole offensive line, wearing the run the ball. Then they averaged 1.8 yards per carry. Jeez. Michigan got pushed around in that playoff game last year, almost as bad as Ohio State got pushed around this past Saturday. Super Denny Gumper, thank you for the super chat. He said, Disney dog stupidity never failed to amaze me. Yeah. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. He says, do you think Vegas would have Ohio State favored against Southern Cal or TCU if they were to match up in theory? Before this past Saturday, yes, they would have been favored over either one of those teams. Now, I'm not so sure. They may still be a slight favorite. They definitely were a favorite because you could find future odds. They were definitely a favorite over both of those teams before this past Saturday, and may still be. Jared, thank you for the super chat. I was almost asleep until this conversation started. I almost fall asleep about 11 or 12 times every time I do this show. Don't feel bad. Dylan says, why'd you hate Baker Mayfield? I just thought he was cocky and arrogant and ran his mouth in the Rose Bowl when he shouldn't have. LeBron James, thank you for the super chat. He says, UConn is way better than Georgia at basketball. Yeah, that's true. But just about anybody's better than that. Look, the bar for what's being good at basketball is not better than Georgia, because it doesn't get much lower than Georgia when it comes to basketball. We're going to turn that around, though, with Mike White. Maybe. Maybe. Parker, thank you for the super chat. U.S. plays Netherlands Saturday at 10 a.m. Yes, they do. I'm going to do my college kickoff show at 9 a.m. on Saturday like I always do. And we usually do that till about 10:30. And I'm still going to do it, but of course I'll have the soccer game on in here while I'm doing that show. Mayhem Matthew, thank you for the super chat. Morning in that. Remember, Stetson Bennett is 12-0. Cry. Yeah, everyone on the team is 12-0. Chaz Chambliss is 12-0 too. LeBron James, thank you again for the super chat. UConn, Georgia sending Bama home sad in the tournament. Well, you really hung up on this UConn basketball deal, huh? I went to high school with a guy who got a scholarship to UConn. I don't know if you're really a UConn fan or you're just trolling or what, but I don't know if you remember Ricky Moore from back in the mid-'90s, but y'all won a national title with him. I went to high school with him. He was what you would call a baller. Yep. Trevor, thank you for the super chat. The Uncle Lou picks the Cats this Saturday. Emaw. I don't even know what that means. Crimson Kings, thank you for the super chat. He says, I smoked that good too, Lou. If Bama doesn't get in, which they probably won't. No, they definitely won't. They're not getting in. I'll be watching UGA slaughter everybody. Ohio State, Southern Cal, and TCU. Michigan is a physical team, but nah. Whoa, Todd, woo. Thank you, sir. Ohio State man, thank you for the super chat. Wearing a bag over my head until we beat Michigan, he says. God, that's it. That's a year, at least. Unless you get into the playoffs and play them. Big Barney Ross, what's up, buddy? He says, Disney dogs. Well, that's just goofy. It is goofy. You're right. Extremely goofy. Extremely goofy. You have no idea how goofy it is. You have no idea how goofy it is. Y'all behaving in the comments today? I'm going to get out of here soon. It's late. Y'all keep me up too damn late. I'm a Buckeye fan, and I really hope the Buckeyes don't get into the playoffs. Michigan did a great job, and they deserve to enjoy the victory. LOL, no retry. See? Now, look. Even if this guy doesn't mean a word of that, that's what you have to do when you lose. If everybody did that, then we wouldn't have fans to make fun of. I've been on, look, you have any idea how many times I've come on here after a Georgia loss? I say the same thing every time. Congratulations to blah, blah team. Y'all beat the hell out of us. Y'all were the better team. You were right. I was wrong. Now here's why Georgia sucks. And I go on a 10-minute rant about everything Georgia did wrong. I don't come on here and blame the refs and the weather and, if we played you tomorrow. I mean, you just look silly when you do that. When your team loses, just take the L. You know, congratulate the team and that won. Congratulate their fans. And focus on what your team did wrong to lose the game. All these people that delete their friggin' comments and hide and stay off the internet for 3 weeks I mean, you just if you had any idea how much of a fool you look like when you do that. Since you know how to handle a loss, you'll be okay after LSU meat slaps you. If LSU beats Georgia, I'll be just fine. I'll be just fine. I'll be mad at Georgia. Not at the referees. Not at the weather. Be mad at Georgia. Why is the Sugar Bowl at noon? I didn't know it was, but is it on New Year's? If so, that's why. Is it on New Year's Eve? I don't know I don't even know when the Sugar Bowl is. It doesn't apply to me, so I don't know. I don't know what day of the week is that on this year. Because the playoff games are on New Year's Eve. Right? I don't know why the Sugar Bowl's at noon. Got no idea. I'm the same way. I get much more angry at my own team than the opposing one. Yeah. Lou, my mom has surgery tomorrow. Gotta have her there early. All right, Jay. Good luck with that. I'm sure everything will be fine. Trent Dilfer, next coach at UAB. I didn't know he was coaching. I had no idea either. Score prediction for LSU and Georgia. I'll let you know on Friday at the end of the Hype and Hate video. I'll do a Hype and Hate video for LSU and Georgia on Friday, and I'll always put a score prediction up at the end of those videos. It's a crime that Troy isn't ranked. Troy? 5-star dummy. DJ Ukulele will make the Tennessee defense look good. Wow, God. That's hard to do. That's hard to do. Dan the Clown Mullen says, is anybody looking for a OC? Yeah, I heard Bama was, and I heard they were interested in you, sir. I've heard Dan Mullen's name as a possibility at Alabama. What do Bama fans in here think about that? What about Georgia and Michigan score? I don't do score predictions on games that we don't even know if they're going to be played. And if they are played, would be played 6 weeks from now. I heard Tennessee is looking for a DC. How about Muschamp for a few Chick-fil-A bags? Yeah, I don't know. Because I know Alabama was looking at Glenn Schumann from Georgia. We can't lose Schumann and Muschamp. We can only lose one of them. Joe says, I'd like Kirby to come back and run the defense again. I'm sure you would. You already know we're playing Michigan in the national title. Well, I know it. It's likely. Yeah, it's likely. Saban's about to clean house. Well, we'll find out soon. If Alabama loses to Kansas State, imagine the amount of excuses all off season. Well, it'll be we didn't want to be there. That'll be the excuse. Bama didn't want to be there. That'll be what it is. Lou, who you got between TCU and Michigan? I would probably take Michigan, but I think that's an interesting game. I think that'll be a better game than Georgia and Southern Cal. Texas A&M wants to go to the Pac-12 so they can smoke weed in the locker room legally. Ryan Walters probably a hot move in the offseason. I don't even know who that is. Middle Tennessee State made the Hawaii Bowl and gets to play San Diego State. Everyone and their mom will be watching. Yeah, no, they won't. South Carolina will be the Purdue of the SEC. Go Blue says, I'm a Michigan fan, and I know they shit the bed in the semifinals last year. Lou, what do you think the biggest challenge will be for us playing LSU? Well, if Jaden Daniels is healthy, the biggest challenge is containing him, running-wise. I'm not concerned with Jaden Daniels throwing the ball. And then defensively, we just have to know where Harold Perkins is at all times. Because he can be a problem. What will Stetson's legacy be if we go undefeated and win another natty? The same legacy as every other player that was on the team last year and this year. Thoughts on Fickle to Wisconsin? I think it's a great hire. I think it's I don't even normally I don't make like next year predictions until signing day and transfer portal stuff and who's coming back, who's leaving. I have to look at a team schedule, all that. I'll pick Wisconsin to win the Big Ten West next year right now. Just based on hiring Luke Fickell. That's how I love Luke Fickell. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe he falls on his face, but I really like Luke Fickell. Will A.D. Mitchell ever play again? I think he's going to be on the George Pickens plan. I think so. What does that mean? 3 plays in the SEC title game with 0 catches, 6 plays in the first round of the playoffs with 1 catch, 8 plays in the national title game with 1 catch. I'll go with that. I would love to be wrong, though. Stetson now has more passing yards than Murray. Let that sink in. Yeah, but Murray did it in less games. George Pickens is going off for the Steelers. Yeah, he's going to be a problem in the NFL for a while. He's really, really good. Jermaine Burton decided to show up and finish the season strong. Yeah, he had more yards and touchdowns this year at Bama than he ever had at UGA. A.D. Mitchell does have another year to play. He's only a sophomore. Yep, that's right. He made that big catch in the Bama game, and I called it. I'll take Kansas State with Adrian Martinez. If he plays. He hasn't played in a month. Who do you think A&M is going to hire as a new OC? I have no clue. No idea. Do you think Darnell declares after this year? You know, I don't know, because I know he's really good, but his numbers aren't great because we just don't throw him the ball very often. I don't really know what the NFL makes of Darnell Washington in terms of like I don't know what his draft grade would be. Like, I think he's really, really good, but does the NFL? I just don't know. Does the NFL value blocking as much as Kirby Smart does for a tight end? I like these. I just don't know these things. I think Darnell Washington is really good and has a lot of potential. I don't know what the NFL thinks about him right now, though. Where's Brock Vandergriff? What do you mean, where is he? He's at UGA. Ringo is a sophomore this year. He will be back next year. No, Ringo's gone. This is Ringo's 3rd year. He's a first-round draft pick probably. He's gone. USC scares me. Do you think we beat them? Yeah, their defense. Even if offensively they have a good game against Georgia, which is very hard to do. So let's say Southern Cal has success against Georgia on offense, and they score 35 points, which is unheard of against Georgia. There's no doubt in my mind Georgia would win the game 45-35. Ohio State's or Southern Cal's defense is not very good. I don't think Southern Cal would score 35 on Georgia. I'm saying best case scenario for Southern Cal. Their offense gets going and they put up 35. Georgia would score 45 on them. I don't feel comfortable handing Carson Beck the keys next season. I'm not sure he's the dude. Lou, in my opinion, Michigan is the same team as us, but we're more talented. Do you agree? Yeah, I think they play a similar style to Georgia. They're great on the lines of scrimmage, run the ball. They don't have a Heisman quarterback, but their quarterback can run around, and he can throw the ball a little too, but he's not, they don't have it's not a Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams type of quarterback. Same for Georgia. I think they sort of mirror each other, but yeah, I think Georgia's a little more talented. All right, Murray. See you next time. Nebraska has the talent to go 10-2. What? Nebraska has the talent to go 10-2. 5-star dummy. Uncle Lou, I've been a Miami Hurricanes fan for over 40 years. Do you see Miami in the playoffs in the next 4 or 5 years? Hard to predict that far down the road. I do think Mario Cristobal and that staff down there are elite recruiters. And it would probably take 4 or 5 years of good recruiting to get Miami to the playoffs, so it's possible. But there's still some question marks about Mario Cristobal in terms of development and in-game coaching. There's no question about his recruiting ability, but even if you look at him at Oregon, getting blown out twice last year by Utah, there's just some red flags there. Losing to Middle Tennessee State and Duke this year, that's unacceptable. I know Miami's talent level isn't where it needs to be to make the playoffs, but there's no reason they should have lost to Middle Tennessee State and Duke. So there's some reasons there's some valid concerns about Mario Cristobal as a head coach. Worst case scenario is the talent level drastically increases at Miami, and it turns out Mario Cristobal just can't coach it, and you make another coaching change. But when that coach comes in, there is going to be a lot of talent there. Ringo's ESPN page says he's a sophomore. Maybe I'm having a brain fart, but I know he's gone after this year. He's a redshirt sophomore. He didn't play he was hurt his freshman year and couldn't play. So last year he was a redshirt freshman, but it was his second year in college. This year he's a redshirt sophomore, but it's his third year in college. You have to be 3 years in college before you go pro. So even though this is only his second year playing, it's his third year in college. And he's projected as a first-round pick. Thank you, Crimson Kings. He says, I think Caleb Williams will be on his back all night versus UGA. That UGA front seven is ridiculous. Southern Cal would shit all over themselves. The Pac-12 is doo-doo. Yeah, I'm not completely disagreeing with you there. I'm not going to disagree with you there. I know this sounds stupid. Well, are you sure you want me to read it then? All right, I'm going to read it. What is a red shirt again? Okay. So now forget COVID for a second, okay? Because there's some new rules that go along with what happened during the COVID year. So just pretend COVID didn't happen for a second. The way the rules have always worked in college football, you have 5 years of eligibility in college, and you can play in 4 of those years. So it happens less and less now because players are more developed in high school. But it used to be when you came out of high school and enrolled in college, you didn't see any freshmen playing at all. Very rarely did a freshman play. So you come out of high school, you get a scholarship out of school, you're there, you're a backup quarterback, whatever. You don't play your freshman year. You don't play at all. They call that a redshirt year. So you didn't play, which means you still have 4 years of eligibility left. So your second year of college comes around. Well, academically, you're a sophomore. You were in college last year as a freshman. Now it's your second year in college. Academically, you're a sophomore. But because you didn't actually play your first year, then athletically, you're a freshman. And they would call it a redshirt freshman. So a redshirt freshman has been in college for 2 years. A redshirt sophomore has been in college for 3 years. A redshirt junior has been in college for 4 years. A redshirt senior has been in college for 5 years. And you don't have to redshirt your first year. Could be you show up and you play your first year, but for some reason you don't play your second year. That becomes your redshirt year. Redshirt just means you're on the team, but you don't play. But you can only claim a redshirt once during your time in college. So I probably didn't explain it very well, but that's what it means. So in the case of Keely Ringo, he's a redshirt sophomore. That means he's been in college for 3 years, but he's only played for 2 years. I'm seriously dreading the say Lou gets a gig on SEC Network and doesn't do comments or call-in anymore. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't have any interest in doing anything that professional where people tell me what I can and can't say. So that's not going to happen. I hate living in Washington State. I'm here for work until March next year. Ugh, yeah, I wouldn't want to live out there either. UJ can't get its own identity. Y'all want to be the next Bama when y'all need to just be yourselves. 5-star dummy. Well, you might want to look around. Right now, Bama wishes they were Georgia. How bad is the bias of Ohio State? Ohio State almost lost to Northwestern. They don't deserve the playoffs. Well, they're not in the playoffs right now. They're 5th. Lou, do you think the Tennessee game next year will be closer than this year's just due to the fact that it's in Neyland and y'all likely have a young quarterback? I don't know. It's hard to try to figure out what scores of games next year might be. I mean, it's obviously tougher to play Tennessee in Neyland than it is in Athens, but Georgia also put it in neutral the entire second half and played keep away. This year, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to say. I don't know how good Joe Milton's going to be, or if he's not any good, does Tennessee go with Nico? It's just too many questions right now. We don't know who's leaving, who's coming back on these teams. Kind of hard to come up with a logical answer for that question right now. If Purdue wins the Big Ten versus Michigan, they will take Michigan's playoff spot. 5-star dummy. Purdue's unranked in like 7-5, so no. They're not going to the playoffs. Do you think the Tennessee-Georgia game will determine the East next year since it's second to last game of the regular season? I think most likely the media will pick Georgia 1, Tennessee 2 next year because the media tends to go off what happened the year before more times than not. It's hard to say if that game will determine the East because it is so late in the year. I mean, y'all will have already had to have played Bama. You know, we're going to have to play Florida and Ole Miss before that. It's hard to say. Y'all get a win and don't know how to act. Well, rather have a win than be sitting at 10-2 and not in the playoffs like y'all are. Would a playoff expand in 2024? I hope so, but everybody's got to agree. Just think about it. Let's look. All right, and then I got to go. This is it, and then I got to go. But let's just look at this. And I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I know people are in one camp or the other. You either think expanding the playoffs is the worst idea ever, or you can't wait. But let's just pretend we had an expanded playoff this year. Think about last weekend's games. LSU losing to Texas A&M last weekend, which is a game no one cared about, right? Because the West was already decided. No one cared about that game. LSU losing last weekend knocked them down to 14. If you had a 12-team playoff, that knocks them out. Florida State beat Florida. Moved all the way up to 13. One spot shy of making the playoffs. So the argument this week would have been between Washington, Florida State, and LSU. Who should be 12 between these three teams, right? So the Ohio State-Michigan game, okay, it wouldn't have meant as much. That is true. The Ohio State-Michigan game would not have meant as much this year in an expanded playoffs as it does now. That's true. But think about how many more games over the last 2 or 3 weeks would have meant way more because of an expanded playoff. Clemson losing to South Carolina. It wouldn't have knocked them out of a 12-team playoff, but having lost that game, Clemson fans would have been sweating from Saturday until today when these rankings were put out to see where they're at. You know? LSU down to 14, but they play Georgia this week in the SEC title game. Well, if LSU wins, they're not getting in a 4-team playoff. But if we had a 12-team playoff, then LSU would be playing in the SEC title game for a trip to the playoffs. So it's a give and take. And then look at the matchups we would have. Right now, we'd have Ohio State versus Washington in round 1 of the playoffs. Alabama versus Utah. Tennessee versus Kansas State, and Penn State versus Clemson. Those would be your round 1 playoff games. So instead of watching the Cheez-It Bowl a week before Christmas, you'd be watching Washington versus Ohio State, Alabama versus Utah. That's why I'm okay with an expanded playoff. I'm okay with it at 4 teams too. I wasn't somebody that was begging for expansion. But if they go to 12, I do think there are some benefits. I think a lot more games during the month of November are going to matter than what matter now. Pretty much now, if you have 2 losses in by the time November rolls around, you have no chance. And so you get a lot of games that are quote unquote meaningless in November that now, or whenever you expand to 12, will have a ton of meaning. So I'm okay with it. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. No live shows tomorrow. I will have a couple of videos uploaded for you, though, but no live shows tomorrow. Morning show Thursday morning at 8 on my second channel, which some of you know about, some of you don't. Ask around. Someone I'm sure will tell you. But, yes, I have a second channel. I do a morning show over there 4 mornings a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 8 a.m., and then the call-in show will be back Thursday night right here on this channel. I'll be streaming the SEC Championship game on Patreon on Saturday. So all of you who are Patreon members, you know the deal. I'll post a link on Saturday around 3:30. Just go over to the Patreon page, click that link. It will take you to the SEC Championship live stream. I will be doing it on Patreon. And I'll stream one of the other games on YouTube. I'll figure all that out. But I appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. We'll do it again real soon. Have a good morning.